If you've ever had the
You're about to learn secrets
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. We're going to look at a bunch of different conspiracy theories today. There's no organizing theme. We've had theme weeks like the past 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So today we're just going to be, hitting the classics. We're going to, of course, be looking at some flat earth stuff. We have Hans Wormhat, where we have Ben and not Ben over at Edge of Wonder. I'm just trying to pull the chat up on my phone real quick. Sorry, I should have done this before I went live, but I didn't. So, how are you all doing today? Make sure you get your bingo cards ready. Remember, we do Tinfoil Tuesday Conspiracy Bingo. Works just like regular bingo. The bingo card, if you put the command exclamation point bingo with no space, you can get the card pulled up. The first person to get a bingo gets a gift sub from myself. If you already have a subscription, then I'll write your name down, and when it runs out, just let me know, and I'll get you a tier 1 subscription. Thank you, Keithfert488 with 200 bits. Been absolutely loving your YouTube videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like what I do. So for the Tinfoil Tuesday bingo, works like regular bingo. The spaces, like if it says vampires, it only counts if someone in the video talks about vampires. It's not if I bring them up out of nowhere. Unless it explicitly says otherwise, like me talking about cheese, I think is a bingo space. And me saying that right now doesn't count because I'm talking about the bingo card. That'd be recursive, basically, if every time I talked about that specific space it counted. But, yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm trying to find the bingo page. I like to have it ready so I don't have to pause for a super long time when someone gets bingo. I have a hilarious cleanse for when the time comes. Is it the thing you texted me? The Eric Trump being like, I'm a part of the LGBT community when he's not. This is a fun video. So, Agent of Chaos Boss, thank you for subscribing at Tier 1. Batty Bell, thank you for gifting 5 Tier 1 subs, and look at that. With a day to go, we got our September sub goal. Fantastic. Thank you, Batty Bell. Ooh, we're doing the hype train. Hype train. With every level of the hype train, I put on more metallic stuff to protect me from the psycho waves. Duty Doro, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. Let me get my reflective vest. I gotta put up more hooks or something in the office so I can hang some of this stuff up. God, I lost my headphone. Whoopsie.
There's nothing funny about
we doing bingo? We are doing bingo. Get your bingo cards by doing the bingo command. My hair looks a little weird.
There's nothing funny
Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits. Eric Trump thinks that the B stands for bacon. Dame Juno with 30 bits. My grandmother believes Big Windmill is funding the theory of climate change, that it's a hoax, though you might enjoy this tidbit. Oh my god. What is wrong with people? This is what I don't get about people who think climate change is a hoax. Even if it were, which it's absolutely not. It's like, it's evidenced. 98-something% of scientists understand and accept, like, that climate change is a thing that's caused by humans. Even if that weren't true, though, switching to renewable energy is something that would be necessary, because at some point, you use up all your non-renewable resources. I don't get people. I really don't.
The tools of capitalism.
They, like, fall for the weird oil company propaganda. It's so weird. They're the same kind of people that during, like, the time period where people were figuring out, like, hey, cigarettes are bad for you. Like, they're the same kind of people who would quote, like a cigarette company-funded study to you to try and debunk it. It's ridiculous. Tinfoil glasses. There we go. My
There's nothing
brainy
funny about the tools
specs.
of capitalism.
La Frequencia with 22 bits. Take all the bits I have left to my name to purchase more aluminum foil. Thank you. Mitchell Drummer with 10 bits. My mom spouted some anti-vax rhetoric yesterday and I'm very disappointed. What is wrong with people? Why weren't the parents the ones who in the 90s and early 2000s were like, watch out on the internet, you can't believe everything you read on that thing, and now they're like quoting Alex Jones and ridiculous memes they saw on Facebook. Nimnix, thank you for gifting a sub, and Freezerburn, thank you for subscribing with a 5-month streak. Freezerburn says 5 months and a Tinfoil Tuesday hype train. Don't mind if I do. Keep being awesome and debunking all the conspiracies. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, this is just a quick fun video I found. So you guys know how I feel about Tesla and how I feel about Elon Musk. Not a fan. Anyway, so here they're trying to demonstrate, or someone is trying to demonstrate, the automatic autopilot features. It's basically what's the precursor to what they call full self-driving, where you'll have like a self-driving car. We'll be watching the train wreck ERR debate together later, Hannah. What the presidential debate? I doubt it. I don't even think I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch clips later. I know I'm voting for Biden. There's nothing Trump could say that would make me start supporting him. So, fruitless endeavor. I don't need to watch a bunch of geriatrics up on stage trying to own one another. Cherry Tree Boy with 10 bits. My mom believes that weed can cure literally anything, so shrugs. Yikes. It's Freezerburn, not Freezerburn. Okay, sorry about that. What was I gonna say? Oh, and plus there's tons of other channels that are gonna cover the debates live. Jake will probably do it. I imagine the Surfs are gonna do it. Like, There are people better qualified to discuss that than I. Anyway, here's some people trying to show that, hey, the Tesla with the autopilot will stop in case a pedestrian walks into the street. Good job, Tesla. You're nailing it. Remember, everyone, Elon Musk said there'll be 1 million robo-taxis on the road by the end of the year. You better hurry up. There's not much time left, because the number currently is big ol' 0. Catalina Gearbox with $3. I found a new game called Hard Space Shipbreaker. Not familiar with it. I've never heard of it.
There's nothing funny about
Kanawitchy, subscribing with Twitch Prime, 4-month streak. Kanawitchy says, it's making me do this, but I still gotta say your streams are perfect to just chill to. Stay awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. 90% at level 3 with 18 seconds left.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Old enough to know more better. Thank you for gifting a sub. Ooh, we got that one with like seconds to spare. Nice. So I need to get some more tinfoil. What else am I gonna put on? I'm gonna wield my tin gavel. I think that's gonna be that one. Schlock, thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate that. Hype. I really shouldn't smash the tinfoil gavel on my desk. I don't think that's good for it. This was an expensive desk. There, I'll use the notepad as one of the things to, you know, the thing to smash. I don't know what the word for it is. Nimnix, thank you for gifting a sub. Much appreciated. So let's go over briefly while the hype train's winding down or whatever. Let's see what we have pulled up. We, of course, have Hans Wormhat talking about all sorts of ridiculous stuff. Hans Wormhat, I haven't covered in a while, and since I covered him, he's put out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 times 7, I'm bad at math. 6 times 7. Yeah, I have to do that. 42. He's put out 42 videos since I talked about him last. Actually, 45, because these ones count too, even though they're not part of this big block. That boy puts out content. I tell you what. A lot of them are terrible Bible verse readings, though, which he does. The irony that coming from me, I know. It's palpable. What else? He seems really focused on the whole, like, he thinks time is speeding up thing. Very weird. Lipstick looks cute. Which one was it? It's like a light purple-ish. We also have Nathan Thompson. And oh boy, does this one look bad. This is Nathan Thompson on an airplane with a captive audience. So, we'll see him bothering other passengers on a plane ride. That'll be fun. We have Edge of Wonder doing a Flat Earth video. It's like 14 minutes long, so Ben and Not Ben will talk about that. We have a call for an uprising saying nobody cares that they are performing satanic rituals right in front of us, because they're not. That's just the bingo card. We have the Fullerton Informer with an urgent warning for America. This one he's not in his car, so that's good. That's why I picked it, because the ones where he's in his car are ridiculous. And then we have Elizabeth April, who believes she is in contact with the Galactic Federation, telling us about hybrid children and alien abductions. And also, she has weird... That's just probably a weird pause, yeah. The lighting looks weird in the initial, like, frame, but it smooths out as the video goes on, so I guess that's fine. Anyway, we'll have a lot of fun today covering this stuff. Daylight Reckoning, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. Bobbin for Giblets, 10 bits. My wife has gray lipstick that is cool and weird. I really like it. Nice. Chat, ready for my groceries to get delivered? Yeah.
There's nothing funny about
I'm sure.
capitalism.
Have you not gotten groceries since you got back to your place, or like, is this a second grocery thing? The Stellar Sea Cow. Heck yeah, alien hybrids is my jam. I used to pretend I was one when I was a kid. Pretend, sure. I got my eye on you, you hybrid freak. We got a minute left in the hype train. Wing the Ultimate Nug. Converted from a Prime Gaming to a Tier 1. Thank you. Appreciate it.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
Keith
capitalism.
Furt, 488. Thank you for subscribing at Tier 1 as well. Let's see. Anything else? I don't know if there's anything else. Are there any requests? Well, I can't do requests because we're doing the bingo. Let me just look at my conspiracy people and see if there's anything else I can queue up just in case. I would do Globe Busters, but we already have a bunch of Flat Earth stuff ready. And I don't want to just make this a Flat Earth episode. What's this one? Oh, this is a QAnon person. Daylight Reckoning, thank you for subscribing. Oh, another tier of the... Dang, are we going to actually get to level 5 hype train today?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Kalarma. Or Kalarna, rather. Thank you for gifting a sub. Appreciate it. Let me see what I can find. That's an arm thing. I think this was a torso one. If we get to level 5, I'll do the torso one because it's kind of annoying. But that level 5, I'll do some sort of bracer. Captain Seculoid, I watched that documentary, Finding Flat Earth. It was very informative. Yeah, that's really great. It's a Dan Olson thing, folding ideas on YouTube. His content's usually pretty great. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I've arrived. Welcome, Daddy Sume. You have joined us in the middle of a hype train. Or, I should say, near the end of a hype train.
There's nothing
Schlock with 100 bits. More hype for Tinfoil Tuesday. Hannah, somehow you made Tuesday a day I look forward to. Thanks for being great. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. That's nice. Let me see what videos this QAnon dude has. Oh, God. What is this, 13 hours ago? Kim Clement, Trump prophecies, all Trump prophecies, 9/11 and more. Evil is all around us. Oh, God.
There has been a terrorist act and will be another. For the Spirit of the Lord is a miracle.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Same here, Hannah. I look forward to most of the Tuesday streams. Sometimes the cringe is too much, though.
Will retaliate. But God says, even as they retaliate with natural weapons of war, and they say, we will go to the place of the retaliation.
And they shall say, he has.
We haven't covered 9/11 truthers. We should probably cover that at some point. That'd be interesting.
For instance, those that say do not know, and those who know do not say.
QAnon.
There's nothing funny
Upload
about the
date.
tools of capitalism.
Anonymous, thank you for gifting a sub. Much appreciated. We have blown past the September sub goal. 117. 7 more than I expected. And honestly, this counter is faulty. It doesn't even... It's like, if someone gifts like 5 subs, for some reason it'll only count like 3. So we're like way past it. That's awesome. Thank you. Minute and a half left. Has the bingo started, or are we meant to wait? The bingo starts the second the stream starts, so if I'm like just going
There's
through
nothing
these
funny
looking
about
for
the
something
tools
and you
of
hear something on the bingo card, that's fine. You can get it. Andrew Dickerson with 10 bits. Can you add in a random Lost Tapes episode every week during October and maybe have a whole stream of just Lost Tapes on Halloween? We might be doing... what was I gonna say? Oh, public domain horror films on Halloween. Like Night of the Living Dead is public domain, so we might watch that, and maybe something like Manos, I'm not sure. But yeah, during October I can try and pepper in some of those episodes. I'm a little concerned about it, though, because even though it doesn't seem like the Discovery Channel gives a crap, because they're all on YouTube, nonetheless, like, that's dicey, to say the least. If there's ever a flat earther in chat, do things they say count for bingo? I would say so. I really want to debate a flat earther sometime. I think it'd be fun. I bet if I contacted Nathan, he would probably do so. He seems pretty up for doing that kind of thing, but, you know. I've actually never seen Manos, so that might be fun to watch together with you guys. Freaks might be interesting. Is that public domain at this point? Gooble gobble, one of us. Okay, nice. Thank you for the hype train. Much appreciated. So, let's see what we're gonna watch first. Let me turn this music off, and we can start the stream proper. QAnon Evidence Virtual Library. Sure. Oh no, Jay Leno found out about QAnon. Yikes. QAnon conspiracy theory. Ellen winks at Bill Gates while discussing children. Yeah, I often, when I'm with my Satanist buddies on national TV, I show a hand. Okay, we can probably watch this. Not the whole thing, it's half an hour, but this lady's talking about QAnon. So what do you guys think? We have Hans Wormhat, we have Nathan on a plane, he's showing his pamphlets upside down, we have a Flat Earth video from Edge of Wonder, we have Call for an Uprising talking about what he thinks are Satanists, we have the Fullerton Informer probably talking about 5G, he talks about that kind of stuff, we have Elizabeth April talking about hybrid children, and we have this QAnon thing. What do you guys think? Anything in particular you guys would like to start with, especially for someone who's not like has to dip out a little bit later and you really want to see it? Any particular requests from what we have? QAnon, hybrid children? Okay. Gonna attempt to shout out when we get something on the bingo card since you have the master list. Okay, thank you, Baha. Appreciate that. Hybrid children, QAnon, Nathan, hybrid children, hybrid is winning so far. Nathan, captive audience, I'm assuming that's a vote for Nathan. Edge of Wonder, Nathan, and hybrid children are pretty close, but I think hybrid children, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have for Nathan, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the hybrid children thing beats him just a little bit. So we can do that first. So we have Elizabeth April. Elizabeth April, if you haven't seen me cover her in the past, I don't know if she's a true believer or if she's just scamming other people for money, because she certainly gets a lot of money during her live streams. She does a thing where she says that she is in contact with the Galactic Federation, which is, as you might imagine based on the name, a conglomerate, basically a UN of species within the galaxy. And, not beyond the galaxy, though. This is strictly Milky Way business.
That's
Get this
right,
Andromeda
Captain.
shit out of here. Dr. Gamble, thank you for subscribing. And Vulpus Redtail, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. Galactic Federation equals aliens?
There's nothing
Yes,
funny
they are
about the tools
aliens.
of capitalism.
If you have aliens on your bingo card, probably get it. I'm sure she's going to talk about it. Aliens. So, she thinks that she's in contact with the Galactic Federation and is consistently bringing news of the Galactic Federation and her conversations with them to her audience that she has 89,000 subscribers. So that's scary. Although, in fairness, I'm also subscribed and I just watch it because I think it's funny. So, anyway, let's take a look and see what her most recent communications with the Galactic Federation are about and what news we might hear from around the galaxy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another live at 5:55. Today I'm bringing to you tons of information regarding the hybrid children. This is not a topic that I talk about too often. Maybe I have one or two other videos out there describing the information that I know. So yeah, we're going to kind of get into a whole overview of all of the information that I know about the hybrid children today. And I think that intentionally this is meant to open up and unlock your mind to, first of all, what are the possibilities going on out there? And secondly, am I connected personally to this hybrid program?
There's nothing
I think
funny
she also
about the tools
believes
of
that she is
capitalism.
one of these hybrid children. She thinks she has some alien DNA, and she thinks that's how she has her, like, psychic abilities and why she's being chosen as an emissary for the Galactic Federation. All types of fun stuff like that.
And what does that mean to me if I am, right? So I think that today and all of the
Horner,
knowledge of
thank you
today
for
is going to
subscribing.
really give you tons of that great information and food for thought. As always, big disclaimer, take it or leave it, guys. This information may be quite triggering for you. And you know what? I've triggered people with this information before. So yeah, once again, take it or leave it. If it resonates with you, great, fantastic. If not, no big deal. I still love you. You're still here. You're still open to,
This is why I appreciate her as a crazy person, because
Nothing funny about
she's,
the tools
like,
of capitalism.
positive about it. A little bit like Nathan, I guess. Her and Nathan should get together and discuss Flat Earth and its relation to the Galactic Federation. I think that would be a very interesting and very positive conversation, full of nothing but nonsense, but it would be very positive nonsense.
viewing different perspectives, right?
Maya is bored with 50 bits, says I'm gonna head to bed after the hybrid children because my mental health is crap today, but wanted to give you some bits and tell you how much I appreciate both your streams and your and Jake's channel. I always watch your chick tracks when I need a laugh. Well, I'm sorry you're having a bad day, but thank you for saying that we help you in some way. I appreciate that, and I hope you feel better after you have a good sleep.
Yeah, so I also want to mention too that everything I'm going to talk about and mention today is directly connected to my own experience. So as you guys know, I don't do any external information or research, and ultimately yeah, everything I'm going to relate today is either through a past lifetime, it's either through a client who is a hybrid parent or has hybrid children, or it's actually through me just astral traveling, around.
That's good. That's honestly why I trust her, because if you're going to go out and look for information by researching it, you're going to come up with all sorts of made-up stuff. But if you get your information directly from your past lives and astral projection a la Doctor Strange, you know that information's going to be accurate. Am I right, guys? Thank you, Virkanon, for subscribing with a 5-month streak.
Around and gaining access to information. So I think some of you may assume that I only go to the Galactic Federation for information, but to be honest, the GFL is a very small portion of the information that I have access to, and if I want real deal stuff, I'll either go right to the universal source, or I'll go into my own Akashic records.
Oh, so I guess she's not just in contact with the Galactic Federation, she can interface with the galaxy directly, whatever that means.
In past lifetimes and interdimensional lifetimes as well. And thank you so much, Jeremy, again, for that beautiful super chat. You're just so generous. And throughout this video, if this information does resonate with you, then there's so many ways to kind of give back that support as well. You can donate, you can share, you can like, and of course, as always, definitely make sure that you are subscribed to this channel.
Dr. Gamble says, as a doctor, I can indeed medically verify that is true.
Yeah, so let's get into it. I also want to mention too that I did some deep meditation right before this video, all day yesterday, actually all last week leading up to this, and my intention was that the hybrid parents of the world will watch this video and gain access to that. Or maybe you watch this and it reminds you of someone who could potentially be a hybrid parent. So I just kind of called out all of the individuals specifically who really wanted to and needed to see this information. First of all, there are many different types of hybrid beings and hybrid children even, so I'm not going to get into all of the different types. I do have a video out there that overviews all of the different types of hybrid. I talked about energetic hybrid, physical hybrid, super hybrid, right? Superposition.
Basically, the hybrid thing is the idea that certain human children are only partially human and they have in fact been co-created with the help of aliens in some way. People use this sort of like the indigo children thing. It's a way to make them feel like their children are special. It's a way to make them feel like their children aren't just like everyone else's kid. They're an amazing super being, literally sent from the stars. It's like ridiculous.
So there's a really good video out there. Today I'm going to target something different altogether. Specifically, I'm going to target what is an indigo kid, or is it star children? It's a similar thing where parents trying to make themselves feel like their kids are more special. How do I put this? Let me just Google it. I'm sure Wikipedia has a better summary than I could give. Indigo children. Indigo children, according to pseudoscientific New Age concept, are children who believe to possess special, unusual, and sometimes supernatural traits or abilities. The idea is based on the concept developed in the 70s by Nancy Ann Tape, further developed by Lee Carroll and Jan Tober. The concept of indigo children gained popular interest within the publication of a series of books in the 1990s and the release of several films including in the following decade. A variety of books, conferences, and related material have been created surrounding the beliefs of indigo children and their nature and abilities. The interpretations of these beliefs range from their being the next stage in human evolution, in some cases possessing paranormal abilities such as telepathy, to the belief that they are more
more empathetic and creative than their peers. No scientific studies give credibility to the existence of indigo children or their traits. Some parents choose to label their children who have been diagnosed with learning disabilities as indigo children to alternatively diagnose them. Critics view this as a way for parents to avoid considering pediatric treatment or psychiatric diagnosis. Some lists of traits used to describe indigo children have been criticized for being vague enough to be applied to most people, a form of the Forer effect. Maya is bored with 10 bits. Watched a documentary about indigo children. It's basically kids with ADHD, so it pissed me off pretty much since I have that, and the kids do not get the support needed. Yeah. It's parents, a lot of it is parents who are like, my kid has ADHD, but I view that as something that's inherently negative, so I'm going to try and come up with some other explanation that makes them feel not only normal, but exceptional. Same thing with autism. Some kids who are on the spectrum, their parents refuse to accept an autism diagnosis, and they get labeled indigo children by the parents.
Hybrid.
It's messed up.
Alien-human hybrid children that are all on board spaceships right now. I know, it sounds crazy. If you think that this is crazy, then maybe you should back out of this video right now, because it's about to get a whole lot weirder. But that's who I'm specifically talking about today, is mostly I'm actually just talking about the Essassani hybrids, which are half Zeta, half Gray, and half human hybrid beings. And the whole...
Wait, half human, half Zeta, and half Gray. That's 3 halves, Elizabeth. You mean thirds. It's just they got an extra 50% of a person in there. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Oh god, went to school with one of these indigos. They were an awful person. They were the snobbiest of cheerleaders. They were incredibly arrogant, and they didn't really understand why they couldn't succeed. It was depressing and incredibly annoying at the same time, yeah. What's a Zeta? They're different kinds of aliens. The Gray is supposed to be like your typical Roswell little gray men, you know, big head, big eyes. You've seen it in popular media. Basically like South Park aliens or something like that. Whereas Zetas are, I think, reptilians. She believes in reptilians, and I think that's what she calls them. MMO Addicted with 10 bits. No, she means half, half, and half. There's another head and torso growing out of them. It's like Man Bear Pig.
Program of the hybrid children, and basically how we got there. And as always, thank you so much, Sherry, for that beautiful super chat.
It's Man Bear Pig, half man, half bear, half pig.
Yeah, so I'm only focusing on those human gray hybrid beings. So years and years ago, if you guys know my story, if you've watched my Gaia interview...
Do Zetas count as reptilians? They do, because they are reptilians. Good point. Thanks for pointing that out.
If not, definitely go check it out.
I'm totally serial.
It's really awesome. And you can actually find a link for the Gaia interview off of my Linktree link that is in my Instagram profile. So, you know, I know it's a roundabout way, but I'm sure the link is somewhere else. But that's where I know for sure it is. And yeah, and so in this interview, I was kind of explaining a little bit about Hera, my counterpart, my gray self, and then what Hera was all about. So
this is the first I'm hearing about this. So she thinks that you have a like mirror version of yourself, but it's an alien.
So years and years ago, after my first conscious abduction at the age of 18, I started having these really wild flashbacks.
Wait, where's the "that's not how science works" coming from? When did she mention science? The Stellar Sea Cow, indigo children have psychic powers and stuff like that. Every Joan I have ever met was a brat needing punishment and structure. Star children are human-alien hybrids. Typically, they are going to be descended from the Nordic aliens. Let me tell you, I know way too much about it.
To myself as an interdimensional, to myself as a, 8 foot tall.
Oh, she mentioned superposition? Okay, that's not how science works. Fair enough. I don't think I have that one on my card. That's a shame.
All interdimensional gray being. And I knew that this was a past lifetime. at this point in time, when I started having these flashbacks, I was already exploring past lifetimes. I already knew what to look out for. So I knew the feeling of hopping into my own Akashic record and meeting myself in a parallel timeline. So yeah, so I was walking around this giant spaceship as Hera, this gray being, and then when I started to do research on the Greys, because here I am, you know, a tall gray being, that's who I feel like I'm most connected to. When I did research, oh, of course. Okay, I don't know why notifications are popping up. So yeah, so when I did research on the Greys, there was so much negative information. There was so much negative feedback about the Greys and who the Greys were and, you know, their nefarious agendas around planet Earth. And I was so scared that I was a part of some evil, demonic, you know, species that's here to take over the world. And so it was really through the discrimination of the Greys that I started to really understand my purpose and also embrace that a little bit more. Now, as always, as I've always said, there are good and bad, high vibration and low vibrational beings in every single species out there in the universe. Polarity exists everywhere. Even when you have a very low vibrational species.
Do we have word salad? If anyone has word salad on their bingo card, I think that we've hit it. There you go.
You can still have very high vibrational beings within that species. Right? There's always going to be outliers within every species.
Did someone get bingo already? Send me your bingo card if you got bingo.
Species that don't fit in with the norm, right? I think all of us right here, right now are some outliers, right? And here we are. So, okay. So essentially, when I started to explore this gray past lifetime, I learned a couple of things. I learned that I was one of, there was two of us, but I was one of the Grey ambassadors for my species.
What's the bingo? We do on Tinfoil Tuesdays, we do conspiracy bingo, because conspiracy theories tend to involve a lot of the same tropes, and the first person who gets bingo on the bingo card, which you can access in the chat there by doing the bingo command, someone already did it, so it's in there. If you get bingo, then you get a free sub. The first person, not every single person, because I'm not rich enough for that, but I do gift a sub to the first person who gets a bingo. Logarth with tier 1 subscription, thank you.
At that time on this giant mothership. So I was male, even though
Gallivanter, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream.
And yeah, and I was the leader of that civilization at the time. And surprisingly, oddly
don't apologize.
Enough, I ended up having
of course
a
you
son.
do, yeah.
Okay, now
I'm
it's
happy to
weird
answer
that
questions.
A six-dimensional gray
Welcome
being
to the stream,
who's an
by the way.
ambassador would want to have a child. Just in general, Greys in general aren't as emotional. And but for me,
I wish I had the confidence not only to say that I believe that there's a species of alien out in the universe, but that I could assess their emotional state. I think there are probably somewhere in the universe there's probably other life. Just statistically, if we exist, that means that life can exist, and therefore somewhere out in the universe there's probably some other species. But to say that not only you know exactly that they do exist, but you know what they are, the name of their species, and their emotional state, I've never been that confident about anything in my life. And, like, it's not a good thing in this case, because she's confidently wrong, and that's not good. But, like, I just can't even imagine the level of confidence. It's crazy. Did she come out and support transgenderism because she used to be a male alien? I think that would be considered a different thing. It wouldn't surprise me if she's, like, for trans rights. She seems like a... She's a conspiracy theorist, but like a left-wing, hippie-dippy, like, new age type of stuff. And I have a feeling she's probably quite left-wing. Maybe almost as left-wing as me. But, like, I'd imagine she's fine with, like, gay people and trans people and stuff. She's fine with lizard people, so of course she's probably fine with trans people like myself. Logarth with 10 bits. Am I going to break out the hard stuff for this stream? Because this is crazy. Yeah, it is crazy.
It felt like it needed to happen. It felt like I really wanted that family dynamic, which is kind of cool. So I ended up having a son, right, as this gray ambassador. I don't think I had a partner in that lifetime. I think I was just a solo parent. And
So not only does she know she had a past life as an alien, but she was a single alien father. I'd probably watch that movie.
my son, as a gray, like a full gray being, not a hybrid, but a full gray, ended up dying. Okay, my son ended up passing away. I would say roughly in Earth.
Who has dead alien child on the bingo card?
Years, about the age of 10 years old. Okay, he ended up dying.
Oh no! Did he like did his alien ball like bounce into the street and he ran after it and he got hit by like an alien car? What? That's not cool, man.
And that was so difficult for me to deal with. And that's why I think in a lot of ways I've had difficulties on this planet figuring out if I want children or not.
Oh boy, I wish I could blame all my indecisiveness not about children. I know I don't want children, but if every time I'm indecisive I could just be like, this is due to trauma in a past life. Wouldn't that make, like, being a human so much easier if you could blame your very human problems on non-human things? Oh,
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
MMO addicted with 10 bits. No, Alien Epstein caught them. It's okay, Alien QAnon is going to uncover the... is going to uncover the alien Satanists. Does Alien Ambassador count as an expert has a ridiculous job title? Ooh, did she say specifically she's an alien ambassador? I said that because of how she talks about herself, but I don't know if she actually calls herself that. Squirrely Dandelion, thank you for following, welcome.
And then having a very difficult time when I do have children.
She did,
is
then yeah.
because that son.
Then yeah, mark off weird title or whatever it is. I don't think I have that one. Yeah, I don't have it. But if you have it, something along the lines of ridiculous job title.
Died at such a young age.
No, it doesn't count. See, someone else said they did. If they didn't call themselves an alien ambassador, then no, it does not count.
So the Greys, in a lot of ways, are master geneticists.
I am ambassador for my species, end quote. Okay. If she said that, I'd say that counts. She's taking the title of ambassador for humans, or for Greys, if she's talking about that. That'd be fine.
So here are these master, advanced...
Dr. Gamble with 100 bits, you have no idea how much trauma I had to get over to hand you these bits. Well, I'm glad you could get past those hurdles.
Scientifically, spiritually, health-wise, medically, and my son ends up dying because his genetics were not strong enough to exist. And that's when it hit me.
But he lived to 10? He lived to 10 years old. He had some sort of alien genetic condition that lets him live to be 10 years old. But after that, okay, cool.
Me, that the Greys, as a species, us at that time, we have genetically manipulated ourselves so much so to the point where we can no longer flourish. We can no longer thrive. We can no longer continue our species. And in a lot of ways, it's because the Greys did the logical, analytical thing, which was to create a bunch of clones of one another so they don't have sex or...
Yeah, when I think logical, I think, hey, guys, you know what we should do? Let's stop reproducing sexually. Asexual reproduction. That's analytical, right? That's what analytical means, is deciding to reproduce asexually. What?
Organs. There's no procreation process. Everyone's a clone of everyone else because that's the best genetically that we could get to.
Why, though? That's not even, like, within populations, you want genetic diversity. Why would you pigeonhole yourself into a situation where you all have the same exact genetics? That's not good. That would be bad for a species. That's not logical at all. Ugh.
And now, all of a sudden, we're unable to develop anymore genetically.
She's getting that from a species on Stargate SG-1. Is she really? Is that a plot point in an episode of Stargate? I've never watched Stargate. This is the plot of Destroy All
There's nothing
Humans.
funny
It
about the
is,
tools of
yeah.
capitalism.
Cryptosporidium 137 or whatever has to go to Earth to get Furon DNA from the humans. MMO Addicted with 10 Bits Hannah. Analytical is when butt stuff happens and eggs are
nothing funny
planted
about the
there.
tools of
Oh,
capitalism.
God. Why are we talking about butt eggs?
And so this was a heartbreaking experience for me as this tall gray ambassador.
Kitten Mittens says, "Oh, I think the aliens know what they're
nothing
doing,
funny about
sheesh.
the
I
tools
guess
of
I am.
capitalism."
You know what? You're right. I shouldn't judge the Greys. They clearly know what they're doing. Daddy Sume, stop kink shaming."
And my name as a gray was Hira.
nothing
And
funny about the tools
then
of
at that
capitalism.
time, almost so
How many bits do you have to pay for me to never say butt eggs again? More than 25. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Butt eggs. Okay.
There's nothing funny
divinely,
about the tools of
I was
capitalism.
contacted by the Palladian, a Palladian council. I don't think it was the Security Council, but a Palladian council that was a part of the
The specificity! I don't think it was the Security
There's nothing funny about
Council.
the tools of
Well, what
capitalism.
council was it? It functions like the UN and they have like a General Assembly and they have a Security Council. Did they also have like a galactic World War II where like there's the main people who are on the Security Council due to the fact that they were like the space allies in Space World War II? Because that's where the Security Council comes from. They've added people since then. Like I think China might be on the Security Council at this point, but
Galactic Federation. At this point, I wasn't a part of the Galactic Federation. So
Logarth with 25 bits, butt eggs, butt eggs, butt eggs. It's starting to lose meaning in my head. I'm saying it so much.
sometimes I would help them with certain things, maybe a technology advancement, some sort of treaty, whatever, and that was fine, you know, but I wouldn't necessarily say that we were, you know, a part of the GFL. And so they contacted me at that time and they said, will you assist us with your genetic knowledge on creating this hybrid species that eventually will be on planet Earth? And so that's when, and I learned previous to that, that the Greys were a huge help in developing human beings as we are right now today. That was a long time before this point,
There's
right?
nothing funny about the tools
And
of
so yeah, so I
capitalism.
agree.
Bellstar with 10 bits, ass ovum. Dr. Gamble with 10 bits. So how long till the evil Emperor Zurg shows up in her story?
And we started developing
There's nothing
this
funny about
hybrid
the tools of
project.
capitalism.
And upon developing this hybrid project and putting our genetic knowledge to use, I also said, can we develop also in a way that will help the Greys as well? You know, can we develop in a way something that will help advance us, right? And that's when we also agreed, the Greys and the GFL, that we were going to create this hybrid species, half human, and, you know, we already need to know that human beings are hybrids in our own right, right? So there's kind of mutt of a species mixed with the Greys, a pure bloodline, and mixing them together. I don't know if the Greys are a pure bloodline. But I mean, they're pretty pure.
Why do alien beings care about keeping the bloodline pure? Like their aristocracy in 1640s France or something. We must keep the bloodline pure. Marry
Nothing
your
funny
first
about the tools of
cousin.
capitalism.
MMO Addicted with 10 bits. I keep mishearing the gays instead of the Greys.
compared to human beings.
They're space Aryan, yeah.
And then we create the Essassani, right? So that's my involvement in the past. Now the Greys,
We're probably going to go to around 15 minutes, and then we're going to switch over to something else, just because this is almost an hour long, and we're definitely not going to go through the whole thing.
once again, there are good and there are bad. I have really only experienced the good Greys. I have experienced the not so good Greys on one occasion or two, and
You just said you've only experienced the good Greys, and then your next sentence was, though I have dealt with bad ones in an experience or two. So which is it?
the problem is that there are beings out there who are lower vibration, and they have the
nothing funny about
ability
the tools of
to
capitalism.
inhabit bodies that are kind of like organic robots.
Can we vote for me to take her place as representative of Earth? I definitely don't want that job. No, thank you.
That's right, capitalistic
Libertarian
propaganda.
Karl Marx, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream.
And basically like create a lot of chaos, right? And that's what some beings, I'm not going to name names, but some beings out there in the universe were coming through these little biological robot gray bodies and kind of stirring some stuff up on planet Earth and creating a lot of fear. Now, essentially the agenda of these beings to create fear around the gray beings, the gray species, was initially to actually make us very fearful of abduction, make us very fearful of the hybrid species, make us very
Nothing
fearful of
funny
the
about
grays
the
in
tools of
general.
capitalism.
And this whole time, the grays are here to help us advance.
What fresh hell did you walk into? We're being informed about the Greys. How dare you?
Right? That's their number one priority. I mean, the Greys have already figured out all of the genetic issues that they were having problems with. They've already figured that out. You know, they're good at this point in time. They are here now to really help us advance with these hybrid children, right? So it's very interesting. There's a huge backstory, but really my soul has been involved in creating human beings as hybrids way before, you know.
The delusions of grandeur necessary. Like,
right,
how
capitalistic
little do you have to
propaganda.
think of yourself that you have to come up with this insane conspiracy in which you were instrumental in creating humanity? It's so weird. Holly H3, thank you for following. Welcome
There's
to the stream.
nothing funny about
And
the
Dr.
tools
Gamble
of
with 10 bits.
capitalism.
This gray stereotyping doesn't listen to a word she says. She needs canceled. Elizabeth April is canceled party. Hashtag incoming.
Humans were ever even thought of. My soul has been involved in all of the peace treaties to help to harmonize.
Every peace treaty? You were involved in every single peace treaty in the galaxy? Not even one off in some backwater Tatooine planet happened and you weren't involved? That seems a bit weird, right?
The light and the dark energy in the universe. And now my soul is on this planet to help all of you be okay with understanding yourself as a hybrid being in your own right. And in understanding that you are a hybrid and you have DNA far beyond your comprehension, then you start to step into your power, right? And that's when human beings utilize their greatest gift, which is free will. If you want something, you can have it, right? If you
Oh, that was creepy for some reason. That just came off as like, ugh, I don't know why that creeped me out, but it definitely did.
want something, you can have it. Our entire reality tells us that we're not good to
nothing
have
funny
whatever
about
it
the
is that
tools
we
of
want.
capitalism.
Freaking out 99 with 10 bits. I think I heard this theory from David Wilcock also. This is the last of my bits for a long time. Yeah. I don't know about David Wilcock. I'm not familiar.
You know, and then we should feel guilty for having the things that we want, right? Or having a lot, right? Or what have you. So it's just a very disempowering energy. And we need to realize that we're far more powerful. And I'm not talking about having physical things. I'm talking about, you know, DNA activations, realizations,
What do you mean DNA activations?
downloads, connections, you name it.
These are all words. I'll give you that. These are words. Downloads. Downloads are a thing. I can download a movie. But what does that have to do with me as a person? What?
You can have it. That's innately within you. That's your gift, right?
Okay, that's a good, I think that seems like a good place to stop. It looks like she's about to get on another topic, so that's it for the hybrid children for today. She makes money doing this, though. She gets super chats. Like, there's the $10 one, here's the $25 one. She has 80,000 subscribers. This one's actually pretty light on the super chats. I've seen streams of hers where she gets like a ton of super chats.
There's nothing
So,
funny about the tools of
I'm on the
capitalism.
fence about Elizabeth. I'm not sure if she's legit a true believer or if this is a money-making scheme. Like, I really don't know. Because, like, her videos get decent views. 30,000, 30,000, 27,000, 47,000, 77,000. Like, she's getting views. She's making money doing this. So if it's all a scam, I guess there are worse scams to do, but very strange. Just very strange overall.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Chief Tony with 10 bits. If I want something, I can just have it. I want this craziness to go away. Didn't work. Well, now it did. It actually did work because we're done with her for now. And Schlock with 10 bits. Thank you. So let's see what we're going to get to next. Let's do a call for an uprising. A call for an uprising is a conspiracy theorist who believes in the QAnon stuff. He believes that there is a secret cabal of Satanists within the media and government who are abducting and murdering children to harvest a chemical in their brain known as adrenochrome to use as a recreational drug. This is a thing human beings believe who vote. Anyway, here he is talking about how he thinks that satanic abuse is happening out in the open. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I mean, honestly, if I could make money rambling about alien BS I pulled out of my butt, I would do it myself. Yeah, I get it. I don't know. There's part of me that just can't do it. That's why I do this. Like, I could probably easily, if I wanted to, make up conspiracy nonsense, and I think I'm capable of, like, doing stuff like this. I can talk to a camera, and I can talk to groups of people, and I think I manage doing streams relatively well. So if I wanted to scam QAnon people, for instance, and just make up a bunch of QAnon stuff, I could probably make more money than I do now. But there's something in me that just is like, no, that's destructive. I can't put that level of malice out into the universe. It just doesn't feel right. Chozo Lore Prime, thank you for continuing your gift sub. And Melodic Soul, thank you for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Ethics suck, yeah, they do.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. You got to see this clip to believe it. I know I say that often, but just more of the same, right? But we're crazy people, pointing out the repetition, showing you how they are revealing all of this stuff in front of our faces, and everybody thinks it's a big joke. Well, the joke's really on them.
Okay, so this is from some reality show. It looks like reality competition show. Maybe like a Fear Factor, or who knows. I'm guessing Fear Factor, but it doesn't even really look like... I guess I don't know what a pool of blood looks like, so I can't really say it doesn't look real, but it looks a little too bright red to be real blood. I feel like real blood's darker than that, especially in the concentration you would have in a tub, but... Like, look at how clear it is. There's no way that's real blood. Like, it looks pink. Pig's blood. Gotta pump pig's blood. Is pig's blood look different than human blood? Dr. Gamble, can we just watch a Neil Breen for Tinfoil Tuesday? At least he's funny when showing stupidity. Oh, shoot. Where did that go? Mix it with a thinning agent? Oh, maybe. Oh.
Start filling the waterway up with actual guts.
What is this, Survivor? Looked like a clip from Survivor, maybe? Because they were in a jungle. I don't really watch reality TV, so I'm not familiar with what that was from.
You must now read the instructions. Housemates, welcome to the blood money ceremony. It's for me.
Nobody cares. And he thinks these are real satanic rituals and not just a silly thing they're doing on some reality TV show.
One other house.
He's not right in the head.
Mate, to lose half their Bitcoin.
You must choose one other housemate to bankrupt. They will lose all of their coins.
Okay, so that was a clip from Big Brother based on the little article that it just showed
seems
very
normal,
briefly.
right? I mean,
so it's from some season of Big Brother that was probably occult themed or something. And then we have a thing from American Horror Story which is a horror TV show. So yeah, this dude's bathing in blood. It's a horror show. It's supposed to be creepy.
And it's just, you know, somebody just came up with it off the top of their head. Some writer who's making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and producers of the UK.
Oh boy, I bet writers in Hollywood, especially for reality shows or American Horror Story, I bet they wish they made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't think the Writers Guild is that good. 74 Quinn 74, don't be ridiculous as a Satanist. I do this every Sunday.
Okay, Big Brother, right? You get Big Brother, which is enough of a telltale sign, right? With the, you know, the whole show is about pretty much being monitored 24/7. I mean, Big Brother's already keeping an eye on us.
Does he also think Daleks kill people voted off Big Brother? I know what you're referencing, but in that episode, it wasn't the Daleks that were killing people. It was... Wait, was that the episode where it turned out it was Daleks killing people? Were they the ones in charge of the satellite? I think it was, right? No, he shut that down. And then I think it got taken over by Daleks, right? I haven't seen season 1 in a while. I've been trying to rewatch it.
And then you get the TV show Big Brother, which isn't ironic enough that they do a blood ritual. Now, people will say, well, it's not a real blood ritual.
Yeah, saying something in a sarcastic tone doesn't automatically make it untrue. It's not real. It's not real blood, or if it is, it's not human blood. It's like, I very much doubt it's even animal blood. Because there would be sanitation issues and infection issues. So it's probably whatever they use for fake studio blood. I think it's like corn syrup that's colored a certain way, mixed with some other stuff. Anyway, yeah, they're not using real blood.
There's nothing
bro.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Dr. Gamble with 10 bits. Is it goat blood? If it's not goat blood, it doesn't count as satanic.
Well, it's actually a...
Oh, yeah. Satanic on the bingo card. Do I have that one? Doon, 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 doon. I don't have it, but if you do, mark it off.
Bunch of things going on if you actually paid attention to what they were saying in those clips, but the show added a new twist called Blood Money, right? Blood Money, as you see the Illuminati pyramids and the all-seeing eyes on the wall.
Yeah, they're doing it thematically, intentionally for the show. You're literally looking at the set for a show that was intended to look like some sort of satanic Illuminati thing and going, it's real. No, it's a set for a TV show that's using that theming. That doesn't make it real. Like when you see, I don't know, Doctor Who, do you think that makes the TARDIS real? Do you think the TARDIS set is a real time machine just because it functions that way on the TV show? It's a set for a TV show. It's not real. Spurious symbology? I don't know if that's spurious, because he's literally looking at what is supposed to be like an Illuminati pyramid and saying, that's an Illuminati pyramid, so I don't think that counts.
These people had to reach into...
Oh yeah, Illuminati Freemasons. That is good on there. Do I have Illuminati Freemasons? Dang, I don't.
What was they're claiming is real blood. Of course, it probably is real blood. Pig's blood, right? Remember, these people...
I doubt it.
Drink blood. They feed off of blood, especially...
No, they don't. Very few people actually drink blood. Very, very few. There was an episode of My Strange Addiction where there was someone who drank blood, and they went to the doctor in that episode, and the doctor was like, you should not be drinking animal blood. You should not be doing that. You're gonna catch some kind of disease.
The blood of the youth, young children. That's why they were always showing that in movies to desensitize people from it. But here...
No, that doesn't even make sense. That's not the case. No, it's in movies and stuff because that's spooky. It's scary. In what way would that be desensitizing people to it? You think tomorrow they're going to come out and be like, oh, by the way, we're drinking the blood of the youth, and everyone will be like, well, I saw that in a movie once, so I guess it's fine. It's a ridiculous worldview.
Here's what's even funnier, too. So, if there's Big Brother opened, it's...
I don't think that counts as vampires. That's not vampires. Vampires are a very specific thing. If he says the word vampires, I'll count it. But unless he says vampires, no. Because you can have people drinking blood who aren't vampires. Like, the one key trait of a vampire is not drinking blood, necessarily. It's typically, like, being undead, turning into a bat. I don't know. Vampires drink blood, but not everyone who drinks blood is a vampire, is how I would call that.
Bank of Big Brother, involving a brand new Big Brother currency.
Logarth, drinking blood can kill you because of the iron content, literally iron poisoning.
Coin, right? So they're play off of Bitcoin, right? The new currency plays a very important role.
When did this turn into... What about Bitcoin? What does Bitcoin have to do with drinking blood?
Roll throughout the season. Big Brother told the housemates that they would have the chances to acquire big coins through tasks, twists, and challenges. Revealing the very first way the big coins would matter, Big Brother explained to the group that there would be no nominations this week, and instead the 3 housemates with the fewest coins will face eviction before...
Oh, blood coins? I keep hearing Bitcoins for some reason.
The blood money test in the evening. The housemates at risk, okay, nobody cares who they were, but in the blood money ceremony... One at a time, housemates had to pick a coin, one of these big coins, right? These
No, it's Bitcoin? Okay.
Bitcoins out of a pool.
That's weird. Let me look this up. Big Brother Bitcoin. Big Brother blood. Big Brother Blood vs. Water. Big Brother Blood vs. Water, also known as Big Brother 8, is the 8th season of Suitman's Big Brother, which premiered in 2018. Blah blah blah. Is this the season he's talking about? I'm not familiar. Big Brother Blood. Okay. Big Brother housemates cover their faces and hands in blood after eviction twist. Dr. Gamble with 10 bits. With all the talk of coins, I want to bring a blood bank into this, but he won't. But I know he won't. I want him to... Oh, you want him to bring a blood bank into this, but he won't. Probably not, but you never know. Blood money task. Big Brother... So this is the 28... Why is he even talking about this season from 2018? I'm assuming the Big Brother season in 2018 was just themed after this. Like, that's just a theme for the season because the show's been on forever. Oh, boy.
Of blood. On the coins were either forfeits for their own coin total or powers they could use to change others' totals, right? I mean, how much...
Oh, I missed a bit message. Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits. I crave blood when my anemia gets too low and it'll be like, oh, I must need a transfusion.
More stuff needs to be out there for people to wake up. You know, I've covered this before from Will Ferrell, right? I'm sure everybody who watches this channel who has watched for a while, you remember the Will Ferrell video I did where they performed a blood ritual, right? They made comedy out of it, satire out of it, to pretend like, oh, it was a big funny thing. Nobody in the crowd was laughing. Everybody.
I mean, I don't know about this, but like Will Ferrell blood. Ew, when you type in Will Ferrell blood type is the first one. Why do I need to know a random celebrity's blood type? Will Ferrell in a bucket of blood, 1995. 1995, Will Ferrell in a bucket of blood. Oh, was this a movie? Okay. I haven't seen this movie. I haven't seen a Will Ferrell movie in quite a while, so I have no idea what this is from.
Do you like my cat?
To be buying various... Sam?
Will Ferrell. A bucket of blood from 95 or 98. See what Wikipedia has to say. A Bucket of Blood, also known as The Death Artist, is a 1995 American comedy horror television remake of a 1959 film of the same name. The 1995 remake follows the original closely, adapting it to a contemporary setting. The film was directed by comedian Michael McDonald, produced by Roger Corman, who produced the original film, and co-written by McDonald and Brendan Broderick, based on the 59 screenplay by Charles B. Griffith. The plot revolves around Walter Paisley. Charles B. Griffith. That name sounds so familiar. Charles B. Griffith. What did he write? Did he just do a lot of the Corman films? filmography at Conquer the World, Gunslinger. Oh yeah, he did a ton. He did a ton of schlocky movies. Oh yeah, he wrote the original Little Shop of Horrors. That's where I recognize his name from.
There's
Okay.
nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
That makes sense. Dr. Gamble with 50 bits. Don't just me, Hannah. I must validate my blood type through the blood types of my peers. That was hard to read. Did you typo something? I don't know. Either way, it looks like this is a movie where there's maybe a satanic ritual or something. I don't know. Let me see. Control F. Satanic. Does that come up? Okay. Blood. 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 Blood, 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 blood. Don't know.
He was creeped out. And you have Will Ferrell with the Baphomet horns, the mirror, dumping blood on one another.
Yeah, that's part of the movie plot, I'm guessing. Like, that's supposed to be funny, right?
With, chanting Illuminati, wearing the all-seeing eye, right? And what they do is they're showing you this, they're revealing it to...
I want to try and find this clip so I know what he's talking about. Will Ferrell, blood ritual...
We have this
Chris Gethard show. Will Ferrell performs a ritual of the minds on True TV. Let me see. This is on the True TV thing, so I'll speed it up.
Let us stare upon.
Oh, this looks very serious and not at all like a comedy sketch. This is what he's like. They're doing satanic rituals out in the open. Boy, you'd think the Satanists could get some actual deer antlers and not ones clearly carved from styrofoam.
His baby skin and chest hair, which can be accurately summed up as not yet met.
This is like this is a comedy bit. Hey, a call for an uprising. This is a sketch they're doing. You see the funny people dancing in the background? It's a joke.
A boy.
Is Will Ferrell DMing?
Now the subject shall bathe in the blood of a gifted turtle. This will make your show irresistible to viewers. It will be like one of those live NBC musicals that makes everyone lose their goddamn minds. But to be truly great, the host must... This one is just repeat after... Increase the number!
So, it's a comedy sketch, as you might imagine, since Will Ferrell's involved. And this idiot thinks it's real.
To everyone. But they're making a joke of it to desensitize people. So that's why we have a generation of...
Or they're just making a joke. Which, let's Occam's razor this, folks. That comedy actor Will Ferrell is doing a comedy sketch with another comedian on his talk show. Or they're secretly performing a real satanic ritual which involves people in spandex outfits dancing in the background while Will Ferrell wears styrofoam antlers and reads from a prop book.
Such stupid people who think that they literally...
I just got into this cult. Where do I sign up? I got to get into this cult. Where do I sign up?
Are so dumb and naive that they think that they do this on these shows to troll us, right? That the producers just...
That's not what the word troll means. It's just a bit.
Happen to watch, small YouTube channels like mine and others out there, and I say small because there are 300,000 millions of people watch these shows, and they're just doing it to attack people like me and others.
Oh my god. Imagine the delusions of grandeur to think they're doing a comedy bit on TV about Satanists or something, or like Illuminati. Clearly this is directed at me. No one in the production of that show knows anything about you, you psychopath. My goodness, please get medicated.
Other channel, let's make fun of them, and we're going to put millions of dollars into our budget so that we can mock truthers, because...
I definitely don't think the styrofoam antlers cost millions of dollars. I don't know what that show was on True TV or whatever. I very much doubt it has a budget in the millions of dollars per episode.
These people who believe in the Illuminati are crazy, even though...
Yes, because the Illuminati doesn't exist as an entity the way you people think it does.
There's nothing but evidence that they exist. There's nothing.
No, there's not. They don't exist. Where do you people get this crap?
But evidence that secret societies exist. All you got to do, like I've said a million times, is look it up in your town. Find a Freemason lodge, right?
Yeah, it's a fraternity for men who aren't in college. Just a fraternity. They aren't secretly puppeteering the world. They're renting out their lodge for quinceañeras. Like, they're not secretly in charge of the earth.
You'll see the same symbols inside the lodge. You'll see the all-seeing eye, the black and white tile, all this stuff that we see in the mainstream. Or are you saying that Katy Perry and all these musicians are just trolling all of us with these signs and symbols?
No, they're not trolling you. You have paranoid delusions, so you pick up on these things that they're using, in this case, for comedy, or in the case of if someone has like an all-seeing eye in a music video or whatever, because it's a pretty prolific symbol. It shows up in a lot of places. It's on American money. Like, it's not exactly an obscure thing. And then you, in your paranoid delusions, decide that this is somehow a message either to you or to other Illuminati members or to Satanists. It's not them trolling you. It's not them doing anything but making whatever they're making. I know that's not as interesting. I know that doesn't make you feel righteous, that you're secretly, I'm fighting the good fight and trying to stop the evil Illuminati. No, you're not. You're a weirdo with a YouTube channel spouting nonsense. Stop with these delusions of grandeur.
They're putting millions of dollars into these productions. I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So,
Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits. In my town, the Masonic Temple is a huge building, and it's a tourist attraction. I genuinely think it's the tallest building in my city. That's pretty interesting. And Daddy Sume, the bones!
There's nothing funny about the tools.
We're seeing more and more of these blood rituals on television now. Obviously, you all know that I've been covering, you know, the cannibalism for years. I've been covering, you know, the drinking of the blood, right? I just recently covered, you know, drinking. They're talking about drinking young blood can cure cancer, and it could.
There's nothing funny about the tools.
No one is saying that, you absolute psychopath. Logarth with 10 bits. I was in Demolay, which is a junior mason, which is junior masons, and it was the most surreptitious thing the masons ever did was drink all our soda in the common fridge. That's pretty evil.
Defy the aging process to bloodbaths, right? We've seen, you know, musicians, like I've said a million times, like Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly.
Like, let me give you an example. I don't think they were Freemasons, but like my grandfather was part of a lodge. It wasn't the Masons, but it was some sort of like men's fraternity. And they would put on certain events in the town, and I would help volunteer with those events. So I've been in the lodge, I've been in, you know, and I've seen the people who are there. They're just a bunch of old guys having fun with each other. Like, it's not evil. It's not them plotting to do something. It's literally just a club for dudes. Chill out.
And all these people laying in pools of blood.
Yeah, it's because it's striking imagery. Like, literally, Eminem, controversial figure.
There's nothing funny
Not the people who like him necessarily, but there are a lot of, like, moral crusaders who find things wrong with Eminem. So him being in a pool of blood or in a bathtub of blood is striking imagery that plays into that image of him as a controversial figure. You understand? Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I'm in the Order of Columbus, which is really just a way for old men to roleplay as knightly order. Thanks, Grandpa. Yeah.
Right? I mean, when are people going to see the repetition? The patterns are right in front of their faces.
No. There's tropes that you're seeing and you're connecting, but just because sitting in a bathtub of blood is a trope doesn't mean it's secret messaging. It means it's a common imagery used to evoke certain feelings or to give a certain image to the person who is in the bathtub. It's not secret. It's not malicious. It's literally just like, okay, what do we do for this photo shoot? Let's have Eminem in a pool of blood because, you know, he's a controversial figure and that's extreme imagery. That's as far as it goes.
You know, it's a matter of breaking free from your pride. That's really what it comes down to. And I'm not
says the guy who thinks that TV shows are literally talking to him when he has 385,000 subscribers and his videos get like 50,000 views. Clearly, the people on TV are talking to me.
Talking about you, the listener, because you've broken free of that. And as most of you are followers of Jesus Christ as I am, we know what a deadly sin pride is to have.
Following.
Right? And why do you think
stream.
that is that God feels that pride is such a bad sin to have? Right? Think about it. Because look how hard it is to break people from. Now, of course, pride is bad in a lot of ways because, you know, nobody wants to deal with a prideful, narcissistic person.
The lack of self-awareness this guy is extolling is amazing. He doesn't even realize he's literally talking about himself, and the fact that he's so prideful that he believes that he is one of the very few people on the planet to somehow tap into a secret truth about reality, and that he's fighting the good fight on YouTube in order to try and take down a global cabal of secret Satanists. The pride involved in that level of delusion and that level of self-aggrandizement is immeasurable.
But people who are prideful don't want to believe that they're wrong about anything that's going on.
Again, this describes him perfectly.
So they believe, you know, I put 20 years into school, I got my PhD.
Deep state. There we go.
They believe in the system. They love the system. They refuse to see the signs and symbols. And that's because they're pride. Because if you can't see the patterns that are going on, if you watch this channel and you don't see it, I'm making a video on everything. I'm not passing up on stuff that I see. You know, you think I want to sit there and make a video about Mary Poppins?
Is that Milo? Again, here we have another figure who is very controversial. Milo. Someone who's, I think, pretty awful. But he's playing into this idea that he's a controversial figure, again, by bathing in a bathtub of what looks like blood. It's prop blood. This is a trope. People who are controversial figures, when they're taking photo shoots about themselves, will play into tropes of controversial imaging in order to get across the fact that they are aware of their public perception of themselves, and they are playing into it. This is a common trope.
Poppins, Mary Poopins. And somebody be like, oh, he makes the video because he wants to make money for... I'm showing you every single day the patterns, right?
Again, these are not patterns. You are a delusional person who is making connections where there are none.
From Mary Poppins to the House of Clock in the Walls to, American Horror Story. These
House with the Clock in the Walls was a really good children's movie. I don't know if people have seen that. It's really good.
These are all within a month. To Bewitched.
If you've ever had this
feeling, I accidentally hit a button. Whoopsie.
American Horror Story. These are all within a month. To Bewitched, to Charmed, to Witches the remake, right? The repetition and the patterns are there. I am going out of my...
We got a bingo? Who got a bingo? Duty Doro? Send me a bingo card.
Way to show you these things.
So I can just double check it.
To help break you free from it. Because the more you see, the more your mind starts realizing that there is a pattern in play. There is control in place.
Let me check the bingo card real quick. Spurious symbology is evidence. Did we decide that that was a thing? I thought I said no on the spurious symbology. Okay, people, stop clicking on all the stuff. I already saw it. Jesus Christ. I thought we decided no on the spurious symbology of... Oh, well, no, he's doing the thing with the blood. So, okay, I'll count that. Reptoids, yes. Free space, deep state, word salad. Yeah. You got it. Good job. Logarth with 10 bits. I heard clocks on a wall and my blood ran cold thinking of Lord Cringe again. Duty Doro. So let me go and get you your sub if you don't already have one. Okay.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Enjoy your gift sub.
And your mind needs to break free from it. And when it sees these patterns, it can break free. So this is stuff that's just going to continue to go on and continue to be normalized, right? Because listen, think about 100 years ago. If suddenly, obviously there was no TV, right? So just say that there was something going on in the town, right? And they're like, oh, in the town tonight, we're going to have a play or we're going to do something. And in the play, they did this. Just say in the play, right? It was fiction, but, and everybody goes in there. Do you think that they would just be like applauding this and they'd be like, oh, it's artistic?
I mean, Hamlet literally, or not Hamlet, which one am I thinking of? Macbeth literally has like witches in it doing witchy stuff. So the thing that you're describing, yes, has happened. Plays have had like the occult and stuff taking place on stage for a long time. That's not a new thing. What are you talking about?
If they saw this, somebody dipping their hands in blood.
Oh, yeah, because people get used to stuff, because special effects are better than they've ever been before. Like, if we're talking 100 years ago, like 1920, I'm sure fake blood existed, but it would probably be relatively hard to get your hands on if you're a small town in the middle of nowhere. But, like, if you're using it in a play, I'm sure it would be fine. Macbeth, yeah.
Getting covered in human blood or whatever blood, even animal blood. The people who were performing this play they'd be done.
Okay. And there are a lot of things that exist in art forms today that would have been considered scandalous in the past. That's because as time has gone on, people have gotten more open to all forms of, like, different fun stuff. Like, a slasher movie today would have been unacceptable in the 1950s. Like, Psycho, which by today's standard is incredibly tame, although it's still an incredibly well-made movie. Psycho was considered shocking at the time, whereas today it's not considered shocking at all, and if you showed something like Saw to someone, or one of the Saw sequels to someone in the 50s, they'd probably vomit everywhere. This is how things happen. Like, people get more accustomed to this stuff over time. It doesn't mean that the thing that they are getting accustomed to is true, right? Anlid with 20 bits. Has he said what their ultimate goal is? World domination, Satan defeating God in a backhanded way, transforming humans into demons? What does he think all these clues are leading to? No idea. No idea. Yeah, George Romero was considered controversial and gory. Yeah, which is hilarious considering what we see today in the media. Like, yes, people get desensitized to violence, and things that would have been unacceptable in the past are acceptable today. But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's people recognizing that, like, something that's fictional is fictional, and if your story can be told using gore, your story is best served using some sort of violent imagery, and that's fine, because movies aren't real. Movies are basically a safe space where people can act creatively. That doesn't make what's happening in the movie reflective of reality.
I mean, we know what they would do to them. They wouldn't be alive another week. Okay, they wouldn't be. Nobody would sit there.
You think in the 1920s, if someone put on a shocking play, that they'd be murdered? No. What? You think 100 years ago was like 1712 or something? The Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits. What about the fact that public executions were considered to be entertainment until the late 1800s, early 1900s, and that was real blood and death? Yeah. That also. Violence used to be a much bigger part of people's real life, which I think probably plays into why it's more considered acceptable today. Because think about it. Like, human beings today in places like America or the UK or Australia, or basically most Western countries, whatever you want to call it, English-speaking countries, I don't know. We don't deal with violence viscerally on a day-to-day basis usually. Unless you're literally a soldier who is in combat, you've probably never seen a person die. Not in person, at least. Although you may if you've been in an accident or something, but even that's a traumatic event. whereas death was a part of everyday life for people in the past. So when we see something like death in a movie, or like we would go and watch a Saw movie, there's a level of disconnect between the violence depicted on screen and the real-world counterpart, just because we don't deal with that in day-to-day lives. We're very fortunate in that way. Someone in the 1920s, though, a lot of the people, if we're talking about the 1920s, probably dealt with World War I, one of the bloodiest conflicts in human history. So to show them something that viscerally disgusting is probably going to trigger a lot of people's PTSD, even though they might not have a word for it yet. Like, there are reasons that these things are different. Context matters.
And go, wow, that's real creative art. How interesting. People would be freaked out because people then weren't desensitized from this stuff. This is gore. This is graphic. This is disgusting.
Right. But that's fine. That's also fine. That's how anything works. Visual medium has been around for a long time now, and people are used to seeing stuff like this. It's supposed to be like, ooh, they're dipping into a thing of blood. It's not real blood, man, and this isn't related to anything that's happening in real life.
Disgusting. That's human blood that they claim, or whatever, and any kind of blood, okay? But now
it's clearly not, though. It's just prop blood.
now, because they've shown it in every horror movie, they show it on these shows, they show it here, they show it there. They're desensitizing people to it, because when this stuff starts going on in your local town and they say, well, freedom of religion or freedom of this, right? Obviously, the only people who would go against it and protest it would be us, followers of...
Hey, bud, I know Satanists. Satanism isn't actually about, like, what you think it is. It's not about, like, sacrificing children and doing blood rituals. Satanism, depending on the kind of Satanism you're talking about, because it's not one unified group. There are different people who call themselves Satanists. But if we're talking about, like, LaVeyan Satanism or something, it's not, like, literally about worshiping Satan most of the time. It's about, like, living your life in a way that's very humanist in nature. It's not about slaughtering people or having blood rituals. Please read a book.
Christ, because we know what they're doing. We know that they're Satanists. We know that they're preying off of young blood. But other people would be...
Hold on. Like, I have the Satanist Bible around here somewhere. Let me go find it. Let's see, I have some books someone sent me. We have The Devil's Notebook by Anton LaVey, and we also have The Satanic Witch. Let me look in the closet to see if I have the actual Satanic Bible. Baha says it's in there. I can't find it. Let me see if I can actually
They go,
find the
whatever,
thing
it's
that
pig blood. You know? You see me comment?
Let me see. I kept that going accidentally. Let me go back a little bit. Satanic rules or something. LaVeyan Satanism. The 11 Satanic Rules for Earth. I'm not sure if... Yeah, here we go. Anton LaVey of LaVeyan Satanism. These are basically a version of the 10 Commandments, though there's 11. It's like a Satanic Commandments thing. Do not give opinions or advice unless you are asked. Do not tell your troubles to others unless you are sure they want to hear them. When in another's lair, show him respect, or else do not go there. If a guest in your lair annoys you, treat him cruelly and without mercy. Do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal. I don't think these are the ones that I'm looking for. There was something else that I was looking for. Satanic Commandments. Doon 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 doon. Doon 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 doon. Here we go. Fundamental tenets of Satanism, of whatever group this is, the Satanic Temple. 1. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. 2. The struggle for justice is an ongoing necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. 3. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. 4. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, to willfully, unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forgo one's own. 5. Belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. 6. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. And 7. Every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. So there are a lot of Satanists, if you're like someone who's part of, like, I don't know, the Satanic Temple. Like, it's just humanism wrapped in a satanic texture.
Movie. They show it on these shows. They show it here. They show it there. They're desensitizing people to it because when this stuff starts going on in your local town and they say, well, freedom of religion or freedom of this, right? Obviously, the only people who would go against it and protest it would be us, followers of Christ, because we know what they're doing. We know that they're Satanists. We know that they're preying off of young blood. But other people would be desensitized. They go, whatever. It's pig blood. You know? You see me comment?
I don't even think it's pig blood. I think it's just prop blood. They haven't used pig's blood for prop blood since, like, the 30s. They usually make it out of, like, corn syrup and other stuff now.
Once I get...
For health reasons, obviously.
When I cover some of these videos on, you know, the blood of children and all this stuff and how important it is to black magic, people literally... They're like... They're so desensitized and so just out of their minds is insane. They literally defend it and they go, well, you eat chicken? Do you...
Ben42, hey Hannah, love the streams and everything you do. Will you watch or cover the debate tonight? I'm a little nervous as I believe Trump will take it to the mud more than ever. I'm not even going to watch it. I can't deal with the stress. So, but I'm pretty sure the Surfs or Jake will probably cover it. So
you eat turkey on Thanksgiving? It's the same thing. It's like, wait a minute. You're talking about... And you know what I mean? You're talking about the blood of a child, them bathing in it.
No one is bathing in the blood of children. You have made this up. This is a delusion that you have. It is not real.
Drinking it, and then you want to compare it to somebody eating a turkey on Thanksgiving or anything like that. You know, it's unbelievable. It really is. And people are just so desensitized to it because every channel you turn on, from Sci-Fi to USA to NBC, you name it, they're showing stuff like this. Every horror movie, right? It's like, what can they do now to top this? Oh, we can cut...
Yeah, it's a horror movie. You're supposed to be horrified. Do you get that?
The guy's eyeball out. And then the guy could eat his eyeball. And people are just like, oh, yeah, you know, I've seen that. It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's a movie. People don't care because it's a movie, because those things aren't actually happening.
Right? And that's the whole point of desensitizing people.
Stephen J. Neptune Man says, if Satan worshippers are sacrificing children and using black magic, wouldn't we know this by now? Yeah. The Satanic Panic in, like, the 80s also believed all this nonsense about Satanists, like, hurting animals and children. It's just not the case.
Well, that's why I'm saying, 100 years ago, this stuff wouldn't be allowed to go on. Nobody would look...
Okay, a lot of things wouldn't be allowed to go on 100 years ago. That doesn't mean that 100 years ago they were right. Like, black people also didn't have rights in the 1920s. Gay people weren't allowed to be out. Trans people weren't even discussed. Like, 100 years ago is not the height of human enlightenment. This is literally fake blood. It's not even animal blood. It's like, look at it. Come on. This does not look like real blood. It's for a show. They're doing a bit. They're like, ooh, we're doing Big Brother, and it's like a Satanist thing. Ooh. You're literally complaining about, like, a Halloween prop.
Look at it and go, oh, that's creative art. They go, get the hell out of this town, or they would kill, they'd be lit on fire, or whatever they would do to witches, right? They would know.
Do you think that people were burning people at the stake for being witches in the 1920s? Again, I repeat, please read a book.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
74 Quinn 74, 150 bits for reading my tenets on stream. Thank you.
That this was a satanic ceremony. But now everybody's been dumbed down to think that witches don't exist, that Satanists don't exist.
Because they don't. There are Wiccans, but they don't have actual magic powers. And Satanists exist in the sense that there are people who, like, follow tenets and follow a religion called Satanism, but they are not sacrificing animals and children.
Exist, you know, and they have these satanic organizations. They pretend that they're atheists. Everybody believes them, and what they
because they are, because we're talking about the Satanic Temple, because it is atheists.
Say because they sound articulate and they speak well, right? And that's how they get away with this stuff.
Or because it's the truth. How about that one?
They wouldn't have been allowed to. But now everyone's convinced that this stuff doesn't go on and it doesn't exist.
Because it doesn't. If you have actual evidence to the contrary, you would have presented it. But you don't. Because it's not true. So all you can do is impotently make your stupid YouTube videos and be like, oh, I saw this thing in a music video and it scared me, so it means Satanism is real and people are killing children. If you had evidence, you would have shown it. You don't. So knock it off.
So I keep showing everyone these patterns and these things, and they still go, yeah, but it's fiction. It's just a show.
Because it is. Like, if you were going around saying, the earth is flat, the earth is flat, you'd probably hear a lot of people say, no, it's not, it's round. And it's not because they're part of some conspiracy. It's because you're wrong and they're trying to correct you. People repeat correct answers because they're correct.
Oh. Come on, Call. It's we don't even know if it's real blood. It could be paint.
No, I know it's not real blood because there's no production on the planet that's going to risk people getting some infection because they have a cut on their hand and then they stick their hands in animal blood. They're not going to do it. Why would they do that? It doesn't even look like real blood. Like, the only show that would do something even a little bit like that is Fear Factor, and that show hasn't been on the air in a long time. And that was the whole premise of the show, is do the gross thing.
Right? Meanwhile, you get the Illuminati eye in the background. You got a show called Big Brother, which is spying on telling you, Big Brother exists, and yet it's over.
No, it's a name for the show because they are watching the contestants on Big Brother. That doesn't mean there's a real world Big Brother a la 1984. Now, the government does spy on its citizens in the sense that they're collecting, like, everyone's metadata, and that is ridiculous, but they're not, like, Satanists. This has nothing to do with Satanism. This has nothing to do with Big Brother, the TV show.
There's nothing funny about
the delusion is so ridiculous. TV is real life. Apparently, I guess we forgot to remember that actually TV is all very real, and if something happens on TV, then it's real in real life, which is why I'm constantly waiting outside my house for a blue police box to show up and take me on adventures in space and time, because I saw it on the TV, and that means it's real.
Over everybody's head. Everything is in plain sight. Remember, this is how black magic works, right? This is how sigil magic works. They show it, they reveal it.
Hey, bud, I don't know how to break this to you, but there's no such thing as magic. Oh boy, I wish it was. That'd be cool. But it's not. Magic is not real.
And just because they might hint at it with sarcasm and these other things, that's how they keep people deceived while they're putting the spell in
Schlock, if I die in TV, I die in real life. Yeah, that's how it works. It's Matrix rules. Dahlia, I always have trouble with this one.
About the tools of capitalism.
Dahlia Vianney with 10 bits. I mean, if Big Brother wants to see what weird porn I watch, it doesn't bother me. It just might bother them. Wing the Ultimate Dog with 100 bits. Hannah Doctor. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. If magic was real, you better believe I would be a mage by now. Same, right? Like, if magic was real, I'd be doing it.
Casting the spell on people. So to get UK Big Brother, more of the same crap. Amazing to me that this stuff's allowed to air on Channel 2, whatever channel, I'm talking basic cable in the UK, I don't know, BBC or something, but
those are two different things.
It's just amazing, and nobody thinks twice about it. They're so desensitized. They see the Illuminati eye and all that stuff, and they just go, "Oh yeah, like Taco Bell, Illuminati, and all this." Because
No, they go, hey, I've seen
There's
that
nothing
before
funny
because
about
it's a
the
pretty
tools of
ubiquitous
capitalism.
symbol. The all-seeing eye is used all the time. Look at Gravity Falls. Like the big enemy at the end of Gravity Falls is literally like a living all-seeing eye. Which if you haven't seen Gravity Falls, it's really good. It's a kid's show, but like it's good. It's a very good show. Bill. And the funny thing is, the all-seeing eye, especially as it pertains to like American money, was symbolic of God. The all-seeing eye on American money was supposed to be the all-seeing eye of God. It's not like a secret organization. It's a religious symbol.
It's just they're so dumb they don't even realize it. We live in the dumbest time period. There's no critical.
I do agree with that, because idiots like this have a voice online, so we end up with people who believe in flat Earth and that television is real. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, wowee wow. Antipodian Squid giving me $150, sending a loving thank you. Did my first stream last night, and you and Jake really helped me gain the confidence to jump into it. So I just wanted to say thanks, and since I can't buy you a gift, I want you to take my money and buy one from me. Wow! Thank you, I appreciate it. That's absolutely bananas. If you're streaming now, everyone, go check out Antipodian Squid's channel on Twitch. Let me see if I can find... for $150, I'll take the time to put a link in the chat. I think that sounds fair. Antipodian... Oops. Antipodian... Let me see if I can just search with that. Antipodian... If you want to just link your channel, do so. Because I can't find a link to it easily. But yeah... Post a link to your channel, and people go and follow Antipodian Squid.
Critical thinking. There's nobody asking questions, and everybody thinks everything's a big joke. Well, the joke's going to be on them at the end if they don't shape up, figure out what's going on, and find salvation through Christ. Because they aren't fighting, these people who are Satanists who think they're fighting against Jesus and they're going to win and with transhumanism and all that stuff, they got another thing coming. They could stand there half robot, half man. I mean, when the four horsemen come, when the trumpets sound and there's lightning bolts going up their rear ends, I'd like to see them try their robotic, superpowers that they think they have. They're going to last maybe a millisecond. They're going to turn into dust.
Stephen J. Neptune Man with 10 bits. To recap, this dude thinks that the Christian devil is working with Hollywood to desensitize people to gore while Satanists cast spells and eat the blood of children. Have I got this right? Basically, yeah. That's a good, succinct way of explaining it.
It's over for them. So they need to just, these people who are so prideful and think that this stuff is okay and it's normal, get a clue, would you? I mean, really? And you guys, listener to this channel, listeners, obviously I'm not ranting at you. You're all awake. You're all aware. You guys are great. And I thank you for the support constantly. I don't know, without you guys, if I'd be sane either in this world. It's good to know there's other like-minded people out there who are awake, care, and can see the same things that I'm seeing. So I thank you all. God bless all of you and your families.
This guy is out of his mind. I really wonder, is he gonna rant about this for the rest of his life? Like, is he gonna live the rest of his life believing this nonsense, or someday is he gonna be like, you know what, I was being crazy? I hope it's the latter, because it must be scary going around believing that the world is controlled by a bunch of, like, baby-eating Satanists. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. If Japan has taught me anything, the end times will be averted by a group of spunky teenagers wielding the power of friendship and fan service. True. And a floating head in a jar. Although I don't think Zordon was a thing in Sentai. Let's do Nathan. Nathan flat smacking on a plane. This is my nightmare, is getting on a plane ride, and I already hate planes. I'm afraid of heights. I've been on planes many times. I've been on planes dozens and dozens of times, both for work and for vacations. Like I was flown down to do a conference in Texas and talk there, and there was another one I went to another time. I've been on planes, but I'm terrified of them. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I was referring to the habit of Japan to have God killed by teenagers in video games. Ah, okay.
There's nothing funny about the
Ben
tools
42.
of
Oh my god, I never realized how much I missed Nathan. Yeah, Nathan is a flat earther. Nathan, as he will often mention, almost as much as Ben Shapiro mentions that his wife is a doctor, he mentions that he is the founder of the largest flat earth group on Facebook, which has a ton of members. So Nathan apparently went on this plane and started proselytizing flat earth nonsense to the poor, poor passengers who are, of course, unable to walk away from the situation because they're in a pressurized tube flying through the sky. I'm guessing by the end of the video he'll be told to stop, but who knows? Oh, his pamphlet's awful, too. I don't know if we've ever actually taken the time to look at his pamphlet, but we should sometime. The plane was still better than the playground. That's true.
Reading material.
No person has ever been turned to a flat earther because of his pamphlets. Like, does he realize that or no? Dr. Gamble with 100 bits. The real nightmare at 20,000 feet. Stop. No. No one wants to deal with your stuff. When was this? This was in 2018. $10, $5 an Air Marshal Haymakers him. I wish. Ben 42. Nathan's pamphlets are clearly the successor to Chick Tracts.
There's nothing funny
He seems to think that one pamphlet equals one flat earther. Well, yeah, he thinks his arguments are airtight. So if you read his thing, of course you're going to think that the earth is flat. It's very, very silly.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
I've had a Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I'm gonna have to do the TV edit of this because I'm trying to swear less. I've had enough of these mother flippin' pamphlets on this Monday to Friday plane. You guys seen that on the Snakes on a Plane TV edit? Basically what it says. Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. Planes literally use the curvature and rotation of the Earth for efficiency. I know. I've mentioned this before. But planes follow parabolic flight paths. Flight tracker. So if you don't know, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. There we go. If you've ever looked at, like, flight paths of planes, they follow parabolic flight paths. They don't fly in a straight line, at least as it appears on a flat map, because a straight line on a flat map is not equal to a straight line on a sphere, which we actually live on. So if you're actually traveling in a straight line from one place to another, on a plane, on a globe, on a flat map, the flight path is going to look parabolic. I've never heard an explanation from flat earthers why flights take parabolic paths on flat maps. Because they don't have an answer, because of course the answer is because the Earth is round.
Yeah, no worries. Sweet.
Your favorite is Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. There's a good one from the TV edit of The Big Lebowski, too, where he's smashing the car, and he said, "Do you see what happens? Do you see what happens when you fight a stranger in the Alps?" Because the original line is F a stranger in the A, but TV edits are wonderful. Oh, when you find a stranger in the Alps, that's what it is. Oh, stop. I'm so secondhand embarrassed for him.
To read while you're on the plane. He's reading it. you.
I think Nathan legit believes this works. I think he really thinks that he's just converting all these people. It's very weird. His logo looks bad. Yeah, it's not great. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. I hate the TV edit of Live Free or Die Hard. He can't even say his tagline. It's edited out of every version.
It sounds crazy, I know.
Ugh. Is that the 5th one? I haven't even seen that one, I don't think.
She goes, are you serious? Yes, yes. Yes, I'm serious.
Why, what's the window? Hey, 13 F's the window. It's okay. You can it's alright, man. I like your hat, dude. That's fresh. What up?
The 4th one? Oh, I actually like the 4th Die Hard movie. It's silly, but it's fun. The Stellar Sea Cow is Nathan JW. I mean, if he thinks people can be converted with the flyer, he must be a Jehovah's Witness. That applies to a lot of culty stuff. Skald Mererik. Did he book his flight to hand out these pamphlets? Oh, I hope not. Skald Merik. I think that's how it's pronounced. Stop! No one wants your stupid pamphlets. Oh god, it's a plane ride to Florida or from Florida too. I think that kid's wearing a Donald Duck hat. No, it's not. It just has a very, very yellow bill. Why?
It will be fascinating. I promise.
Oh, that was...
Stop.
I already got him.
Hands it back. I wish I would run into Nathan and he would hand me a pamphlet. It would go like in my collection of weird, random, culty tracts. Skjald Merrick. It's Skjald Mer Erica, but I effed up while changing my Twitch username. Okay. Skjald Mer Erica. Okay. Skjald Mer Erica. Skjald Mer Erica. I'll try and remember that.
Social destination C, ABC on your right, the after on your left. Carrying out may not block aisles or exits and must be stored in overhead bin to your seat or completely in front of you. If the overhead bins are closed, they are being occupied.
Shout out NASA Lies for the gear.
Let me
know if you need one of these.
Place smaller personal items such as backpacks, computer bags on purses, completely
Oh, this guy looks fresh.
Antipodian Squid, the irony is I would happily take one of his pamphlets to make fun of it online. Yeah, same.
Yoink.
Oh, God. Let's try and read this pamphlet, okay? Since we're doing this anyway, I guess he's showing it. Why not take the time to read it, okay? Yeah, Hannah, it's Dade Sume. You need to get the right name. Dade Sume. You need to get my name right, too. Dade Sume. I say that. Daddy Sume. Flat Earth Bling. Yeah. Let me see if I can find a better version of this. Nathan Thompson. Flat Earth pamphlet. Do. Here's an article from when he got in trouble for handing them out at a playground. Does anyone have a scan of the pamphlet? That's what I want to know.
There's nothing
it's got to exist somewhere online, right? Okay, let me try and read it, I guess, off the screen, and we'll do our best. It's going to be a little tough, but we can try. Logarth with 10 bits. I go to a lot of conventions like comic, sci-fi, etc., and there are inevitably religious folks or religious tracks placed around. And let me tell you, I still have 20 or 30 chick tracks I collected over the years. Chick tracks are fun. They're fun to collect. I have a decent number of them as well. Let's see. Top 10 proofs. Water is a natural level. No. Nathan, over time, or not over time, over distance, over a long distance, water curves. I hate to break it to you, bud, but if you look, you can see this too in stuff like surf or tension of water and little water droplets. It curves. Water can, in fact, curve, and it does. Airplane level flights. This is him talking about the fact that airplanes don't have to account for curvature or whatever. First of all, no. The reason that planes feel like they're flying straight is because they're in the atmosphere and you're moving. And I feel like flat earthers' problems, a lot of it, is them underestimating how absolutely huge the Earth is. The Earth is huge. It's ginormous. The change over time of the curvature is so gradual, you don't notice it, even on an airplane that's going very quickly. Science says it's stationary. No, it straight up doesn't. I can't read that. Every scientific experiment has proven Earth is completely stationary. The sun, moon, and stars. Wow, that's just an outright lie. No, they haven't. Even like flat earthers, like globe busters, have done multiple experiments that have shown that the Earth is in fact rotating and moving around the sun. Horizon is always eye level. Not only is the horizon always flat to the observer, but it raises to eye level. High altitude amateur balloon footage without a fisheye or GoPro always shows a flat Earth. If you're using a balloon, you're probably not high enough in the air in order to actually see the curve. But I have seen footage of things that go up into the high atmosphere and you can kind of see a curve. How does anyone believe that? No idea. We see too far. This is footage of Mount Canigou in France is astounding. From 175 miles away, according to the curvature formula, blah, blah, blah. The peak should be 3,000 feet below the horizon. Refraction cannot lift mountains. No, that photo was taken from another high peak. So if you were at ground level, then the bottom of the mountain might be covered by however much. And again, I don't trust flat earthers' math, ever. Don't do it. So the reason that you can see it is because they're on another high peak taking a photo. The dome is real. There are lots of proofs we live under a dome. Sun, dogs, halos, rainbows, and star trails all prove this. No, they don't. Rainbows are happening because of refraction of water droplets in the atmosphere. It's not because there's a dome. NASA admits they can no longer leave low Earth orbit, but they could in 1969. Okay, so this is outdated. I do wonder if he has changed this. The reason that that was the case was because NASA was using rockets in the 60s, and then they didn't, maintain those rockets, and also those rockets were outdated and unsafe. So they stopped using them, and then for a period of time after the shuttle program closed, we just didn't have any active equipment to do so. Now, with a partnership with SpaceX, we're going into space again. It happened very recently. I do wonder if he has changed this since, considering that we've been to the International Space Station quite recently. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 10 bits. In the 80s and 90s, people were annoyed by Hare Krishnas at airports. In the 2020s, people are going to be annoyed by flat earthers. Yeah, I think they changed airport policies because of Hare Krishna, because there were so many who were proselytizing in airports. Moonlight is cold. A laser thermometer proves moonlight has a colder than in the shade. No, this has been proven wrong multiple times. What they do is they take the temperature just on the ground somewhere randomly, and then they'll take the temperature of something under shade because it has a shadow, so under a tree or something, and then it'll be warmer under the tree where the shadow is, and they'll be like, aha, moonlight makes things cold. No. What's happening there is if you're in the shadow of something, you're probably under something like a tree or an umbrella or something. And there's this thing called radiated cooling, something to that effect. But basically, if you're just in a field out in the middle of nowhere, the ground is going to cool quicker in the nighttime because there's nothing blocking the heat from rising up into the atmosphere. Whereas if you're under a tree or something, someplace where there would be shade, then the tree is going to block some of the natural, like, raising of the heat, and the diffusion of the heat is going to be trapped by the object that is causing the shade. Crepuscular sun rays. The sun is smaller than Earth and very close. No, it's not. The sun is very far away and much, much, much larger than Earth. We can trace the angle of rays back to their source above the clouds. The sun is clearly not massive or 93 million miles away. The distance varies because of the elliptical orbit, but yeah, it is about 93 million miles away on average. It's not close. Gravity is magic. Newton's theory has never been proven. It has. Gravity is easily explained by density and buoyancy. No, it's not. And they don't even know what they're talking about when they say this, because the formula for buoyancy, you know what you need in order to calculate something's buoyancy? Gravity. So if you say that things fall to the ground, not because of gravity, but because of density, it doesn't even make sense if you don't believe in gravity. You cannot calculate buoyancy without gravitational constants. My goodness. Boats over the curve. It's a common misconception that boats disappear out of the sight because of the curve of the Earth. The introduction of blah, 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 blah of these cameras shows that the real problem is the supposed curve. Basically, they're saying that sometimes when you use certain cameras, you see something appear to go over the curve, and then if you zoom in, you can actually bring it back into focus. This is true to an extent, and some of that has to do with, what's the word I'm thinking of? Refraction of light. But if the boat continues to go, no, it'll go over the curve over some period of time. So everything on this is complete BS.
But if you could describe it to
This
one
is
of
my
the
neighbor.
participants who'd like to return it to its owner. Again, if you left a of your seat.
Peace.
That poor guy. Anyway. It's enough of Nathan for today, I guess. How long have we been going? 2 hours? Okay, we still have a decent bit of time. Have I seen an anvil float in Mercury? I have. I have seen that. Cleanse for when this is over. Okay, let me see.
My fellow Americans, our First Lady and the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Stand for an American president who is fearless and who loves this country, and we'll fight for her.
This is the most important election, but I'll say it differently. There is violence.
Do you think he has enough American flags? Gross.
In the streets, and I've done more to lead our country when it spends so much time tearing down our country.
Oh, this is gross. I can't watch that. Alright, let's see what the Fullerton Informer's up to. This is from April 2nd. Urgent warning for America.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe and Brianna, the Fullerton Informer. We're coming to you live tonight with a very urgent message. And I don't take lightly to coming out with titles like this. I want to give it just a moment here for the notifications to go out. I hope they're working. Let's give it just a moment before
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Live from this guy's couch, says Logarth.
I don't want people to miss what I have to say. And the more of you that hear this in real time, the better.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
While we're waiting for the
Dr. Gamble, more flags, darn it, I said more flags.
the stream to kick in.
It always annoys me when I watch videos of him on his couch, because look at this. Once you see this, you're not going to unsee it. This painting is not hung on the wall. It's just laying on the couch. Do you see this? What psycho has a painting that's just sitting on the back of their couch? I hate it.
Can you see this? You see what this says?
It says doctor's orders on his doctor bag. And it's some kind of weird old people tchotchke that they might have around their house.
It says doctor's orders, right? Can you read this? All right. This is Joe Brianna, the Fullerton Informer, folks. P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834.
Why didn't I play your cleanse? I literally did. It was the Donald Trump thing.
My fellow Americans.
I played this. I just couldn't watch the whole thing. I can't listen to Trump.
And Joe and Brianna 777 at gmail.com. I don't know what's going on with the notifications. They're obviously not working.
I didn't finish it. I can't deal with listening to Donald Trump for any period of time.
My fellow Americans.
I can skip to the very end.
President of the United States. I profoundly accept.
Ugh, no. Can't do.
And let's just give it another minute here. We should have a lot more people than we got right now. Is it going right now?
Yes.
Okay, so it just hit yours. Okay. So we're coming to you live from the studios of the Fullerton Informer here in Fullerton, California. I'm just going to cut right to the chase, folks. We've got a major problem on our hands, okay? If you haven't realized it by now, our government has been taken over by a bunch of monsters like from the Hunger Games, and I'm not kidding you. If you've ever seen that movie, what I saw yesterday in the press conference with Trump and his little midget medical guy and
Fauci, who's been like a medical consultant to presidents for decades.
And that lady that was laughing and smirking the whole time with that scarf around her neck and that tripped out hairdo. She was laughing, okay, as they were talking about hundreds of thousands of people dying.
Yeah, the Trump administration is full of, like, sociopaths. We all know this.
That woman was laughing at this. Okay? You see this? How do I look? Do I look okay?
Does this guy just have a box of props for this video that he's pulling things from?
Does this look nice, folks?
It's a spooky Halloween skeleton.
That's what they're telling us that this is going to turn into. They're telling us.
What's the COVID deaths U.S.? I know we're over 200,000, but I wasn't sure. 206,000 USA. 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 The bones. Yeah.
That there's going to be 200,000 people dead very soon from this thing. Now, that means one of two things. Okay? That means that they're going to fake these deaths.
Oh, God. No. No. No.
Or they're going to relabel. Because I have to tell you, folks, there's about 8,000 deaths a day in the United States on average. Okay, those are numbers that are real. On average, about 8,000 people a day die in the United States. I believe today we had 1,000 people allegedly die from this disease. Okay,
it's not alleged; they did. You can look at average death rates from last year and this year and compare, and it has an extra 200,000. It's not like we have the same number of deaths this year, and some are just being labeled as coronavirus deaths. No. On average, we do have 200,000 more deaths than we would normally see by this time this year, and they're coronavirus deaths. In fact, there's actually more than that. So there are probably deaths that are from coronavirus that aren't being reported.
My concern here is that they're going to turn the weaponry on right now in some key locations. And when I talk about the weaponry, I'm talking about the 60 gigahertz millimeter wave Y-gig systems that have been installed. Now, a lot of places don't have these yet. Most of the United States does not have the deadly...
Yeah, if you want to report this video for spreading misinformation, go for it. There's a link in the chat.
Frequency weapons. But I can tell you that where they do. The hospitals. The hospitals have very, very sophisticated telemetry systems.
So it's not COVID. He thinks that Wi-Fi and 5G, which most hospitals don't have, by the way. They have Wi-Fi, but they don't have 5G. He thinks that's killing people. I don't know how to tell you this, bud. Most people have Wi-Fi in their homes and have for quite a while, and they're fine.
They have very, very sophisticated RF communication systems. The radiation levels inside hospitals are very high. I will tell you...
No, the background radiation in hospitals is not noticeably higher than other places.
That ventilators have communication systems in them that operate at 60 gigahertz. Okay?
No way to fact check that.
I can also tell you that hospital staff wear tracking devices on there. There's a lot of wireless devices on them. They have wireless cameras that they wear. They have earpieces.
What? What doctors have body cameras? What are you talking about? And earpieces? What?
They have AirPods. They have a lot of things. And I can tell you right now from the reports that have come into me that people in the hospitals, the staff and the patients, when they get there, they start having a problem breathing. And that is the symptom.
Oh my God. They came to the hospital in the first place because they were experiencing symptoms, and once they got there, they were there long enough that their symptoms became worse. It's not because they got to the hospital. You idiot.
Of 60 gigahertz millimeter wave exposure that has been beamformed at them. One of two things are going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to turn the systems on, and they're going to get their 200,000 deaths for real. Or they can keep playing this game they're playing with us right now, and they can fake it.
Okay, I can't deal with this guy. This guy's an idiot. Do I want to do Ben and not Ben? What time is it?
Is the Earth actually a flat disk, and we've all been deceived?
No.
Or is the Earth actually a sphere?
It's an oblate spheroid.
And the flat earthers have been lied to?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Either way, someone out there is deceiving the public.
Or people are just stupid. It doesn't have to be a literal person feeding flat earthers information.
On this episode, we're going to find out once and for all if we're all living on a giant sphere or on top of a flat disk.
This is not a debate, guys. This is not something that is not settled. I hate these guys.
I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Rob. First of all, I'd like to say, Ben and I...
Stop lying. Your name is not Ben. You're Ben, and you're not Ben.
...are really not interested in making fun of anyone about this.
I am.
As we were looking into this, we noticed that most of the debunking videos out there are all videos of people just making fun of other people for believing this.
Yeah, because it's a very, very, very ridiculous thing to believe in the year of our Lord 2020.
Like you guys are so outside of brainwashing yourself while watching mainstream news every day and throwing...
You can't make fun of Flat Earth because you... Checks notes. Watch CNN.
Your opinions around. Give us a break.
Right, and there's a lot of theories out there that people believe in, and I know some people might think we're crazy for some of the stuff that we believe in. I mean, we're talking about all kinds of things on the show. but really, there's a lot of disinformation out there.
So let's go ahead and be positive about this and try to tackle this from a rational perspective.
Okay, but if you want to tackle this from a rational perspective, then you need to recognize that flat Earth is incredibly stupid. I'm not telling you to go out and literally just browbeat flat earthers, but if you look at this rationally, actually rationally, then it becomes clear that flat Earth is ridiculous and untrue.
First section then, a conspiracy of misinformation.
So out in the world, there is a big difference between misinformation and disinformation, and we're going to explain what each of these mean.
So misinformation is where someone gets the facts wrong, but still spreads this information believing they are correct.
Flat Earth falls under that category. Flat Earthers really truly believe what they believe. It's just that they happen to be wrong.
Disinformation is something far more devious.
Right, and the goal of disinformation is to manufacture false perceptions, often created staged incidents, and then using these as the foundation for what appears to be a valid argument.
So what are we getting at here? Well, it appears that both of these are being used in the Flat Earth Society. Why? Money, power, fame, all of the above?
The founder of the Flat Earth ideology is Samuel Robothman, aka Parallax, who started the Universal Zetic Society, who died in 1884. In 1956, Samuel Shenton, a reported Freemason, resurrected this idea and started the International Flat Earth Research Society. Before his death in 1971, he then passed it to Charles K. Johnson, who was the president until his death in 2001. In 1972, Charles K. Johnson resurrected this idea and started the International Flat Earth Research Society.
Wasn't that a joke, though? Hold on. I could have sworn some of these Flat Earth societies were literally like joke organizations. Historical context. Modern flat Earth belief originated with the English writer Samuel Robotham, based on conclusions derived from the Bedford Level experiment. Robotham published a pamphlet, Zetetic Astronomy. He later expanded this into a book, Earth Not a Globe, proposing the Earth as a flat disk centered around a North Pole and bounded along its southern edge by a wall of ice, Antarctica. Robotham further held that the Sun and Moon were 3,000 miles above Earth, and that the cosmos was 3,100 miles above Earth. He also published a leaflet titled The Inconsistency of Modern Astronomy and its Opposition to the Scriptures. Oh, God. Which argued that the Bible, alongside our senses, supported the idea that the Earth was flat, immovable, and this essential truth should not be set aside for a system based solely on human conjecture. Robotham and the followers like William Carpenter gained attention by successful use of pseudoscience in public debates with leading scientists such as Alfred Russel Wallace. Robotham created a Zetetic Society in England and New York, shipping over thousands of copies of Zetetic Astronomy. After Robotham's death, Lady Elizabeth Blount established a universal Zetetic Society whose objective was, quote, the propagation of knowledge related to the natural cosmology in a form of the Holy Scriptures, based on practical scientific investigation. The Society published a magazine, the Earth Not a Globe Review, and remained active well into the 20th century. A flat Earth journal, Earth, a monthly magazine of sense and science, was published between 1901 and 1904. So that one was real. International Flat Earth Society. In 1956, Samuel Shenton created the International Flat Earth Society, a successor to the... Okay, so they did believe it. That's just shame. That's a huge, huge shame.
In 2004, the mysterious, and I do mean mysterious, Daniel Shenton gave new life in the flat Earth concept and started the flatearthsociety.org website. However, and it's a big however, Shenton has no images, no bio, and his outdated Twitter and Facebook pages don't really show much aside from faceless photos cut off, you know, and him wearing a t-shirt of flat Earth and appearing around the world.
Right, exactly. So I tried to contact them for a Skype interview, but so far, as you can see, no response. Because I noticed that there is not one single video interview with any of them. Only radio interview with John Davis, who, by the way, is the only one out of all of them that actually have a legitimate Facebook page.
And they do have a P.O. box that's registered in London, but On the site, like when we looked there, it showed this like where their office was this random like factory place in like Portland, Oregon.
Right.
It was really mysterious, so we didn't quite understand that.
Right.
Okay, so why are we bringing all of this up? Because they're kind of good at hiding themselves, and the real question is why? Like, what are you hiding? If you really believe something, I mean, let's just be open about it, right? Like, I mean, we are.
So the other thing that is going around is a so-called NASA contractor by the name of Matthew Boylan, who actually goes by Math Powerland. We haven't found any evidence claiming that he is from NASA, and on his Facebook page, he promotes his art and movies that he is making.
Guys.
So he wasn't a NASA contractor, is what you're saying. If you found no evidence that he actually worked for NASA, why act as though he actually did just because he claims it so?
He's an actor. We checked
Right.
his IMDb page under the name of Math Powerland. 3 are related to Flat Earth, and 1 is for some Canadian show called The Badge. I didn't get to watch the film, but I'm sure it was good work. Also, he has a YouTube channel called the NASA channel, but it doesn't support any solid evidence. There are also videos of other people debunking him as well.
The best part is how he labels himself. So get ready for this. Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. Surface expert, photorealist, painter, composer, performer, chemist, herbalist, healing consultant, actor, engineer, architect, interior designer, carpenter, explorer, portrait artist, whatever the heck that is, scientist, political expert, and
A portrait artist would be someone who does art of people. Like they do portraits. Why? What?
best historian.
Doctor, scientist, political expert, and historian was already too much. Who accomplishes becoming all of those things in one lifetime? This is just, you know, ridiculous.
Anyway.
All right, now look, we're really not trying to throw anyone under the bus here. We're just trying to rationally point these things out. If you look into these things rationally as we are, you will find the same thing.
Right. I just have this thing where I really like to help awaken
New
people.
rule: rational and rational is not a word that Ben and not Ben should be allowed to say. I think that's a good rule.
Truth and stop others from
There's
using
nothing funny
people
about
for their
the tools
personal
of
agendas and to make money.
Sparrowhawk
Speaking
TV,
of
thank you
money,
for subscribing.
Rapper B.O.B.
3-month streak.
is
Tinfoil
trying to
glasses,
raise $1
nice.
million on GoFundMe for weather balloons to fly for so-called proof that
You
the
do
world
not need $1 million to get a weather balloon.
is flat.
But do you really need $1 million for weather balloons? I mean, does anyone else think this is crazy? You could take care of this with a few trips up in a hot air balloon.
Okay, let's put all of this aside. On the religious aspect, some Christians claim they believe the world is flat because of the word firmament is in the Bible in Genesis, in which they take it as a literal translation. Now, the word in Hebrew is raikaya, which could also mean expanse. Buddhist and Taoist texts also talk about the great firmament, but the meaning behind this is like the entire colossal firmament, which was made by the Creator and not just only creating Earth.
Okay, so this is what happens when people really start taking things very literally. But who are we to really translate these texts and lay a definition on them? I mean, you can say you think you know what that means, like
Major Dub, subscribing with a 2-month streak. Resub time, you also need a tinfoil coat or maybe a tinfoil vest. I do have this reflective vest that I wear for this. It's not super reflective though. At some point, I think Bellstar was gonna make a tinfoil suit or something for me, but I don't know if that ever got off the ground.
what you understand that means, but you can't really lay a definition down.
I think it was
All of this
Bellstar,
could be
at least. I
a
could be
ruse to
wrong.
get people distracted from things that people in power don't want you to know.
Right. This also discredits real conspiracies that are happening and things that we've even talked about, such as CERN.
Oh yes, the very real conspiracy that CERN is creating the Mandela effect by using their particle accelerator.
So even the secret space program whistleblower Corey Good said to host George Noory that he had intel that the flat Earth idea was actually created by a select group of people at NASA to spread disinformation on purpose to make it harder for people to decipher what is real and what is false.
No, why would NASA do that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Oh, you think we're idiots? Actually, it's NASA's fault.
So like, you believe in this or that, you must be one of those flat earthers too, right? Plus, it puts more emphasis on the tangible science and less on the metaphysical part of science.
Right, right.
Metaphysical part of science? What?
So it leads people to believe that everything is just a conspiracy and this is really hurting our society. Also, this even puts the flat earth believers into a box, which is then labeled as insanity. I personally know a few of them, so look guys, we're really not trying to make fun of you and call you guys out. We're just trying to separate fact from fiction here.
Okay, so let's actually blow the top off of this and talk about some simple physics here that proves that the Earth is actually round.
I can't believe we finally found a conspiracy theory that Ben and not Ben don't believe in. It's almost more aggravating to me that they don't believe in this and they're almost making fun of it, considering the dumb stuff they believe.
So the eclipse is one of those smoking gun arguments that shouldn't be denied. When flat earther Charles Johnson was asked by the New York Times about how the eclipse works, he said, "We really don't have to go into all that. The Bible tells us that the heavens are a mystery."
Okay. Oh, that's convenient to not answer questions that would completely blow a hole in your worldview.
Okay, let's make this quick. If you really study the moon, the only mathematical answer to its movements in the sky are that the Earth is round. Furthermore, if the Earth isn't round, why hasn't anyone ever seen any variation of this during the eclipse? Here are flat Earth shadows on the moon as compared to
I need to
real
watch
ones
these,
that
but
show
not
the
on
ellipse.
stream. They're TOS. Okay, hold on. Let me open them up in a tab that I can watch.
All right, listen to me.
Okay. I'm just opening them so I can watch them later. Oh god, as I edit or something. Okay.
Let's just break this down. The solar eclipse is when the moon is between Earth and the sun, which the moon blocks the sun. A lunar eclipse is where the
This got 1,000 down votes. Like a fifth of the votes are down votes. Or a sixth, rather. Because apparently there's a decent number of people who subscribe to Edge of Wonder who are flat earthers. What a shock.
Earth is between the sun and the moon, which casts a shadow on the moon. Otherwise, if the world was flat, we would only see a small flat shadow.
All right, let's talk about the case of Aristophanes. He's from 205 BC, people. There's no way he could be a part of any modern conspiracy, right? Okay. Aristophanes heard of a place in Egypt called...
Seeing them smugly laugh about the ridiculous beliefs of others is rage-inducing to me. Like, guys, you believe in QAnon, you absolute morons. You don't get to laugh about anyone's stupid beliefs.
Called Syene, where at noon on the summer solstice, the sun casts no shadows. At the same time, the buildings in Alexandria were casting shadows at an angle. On the solstice, Aristophanes stuck a stick in the ground and measured its angle. He used the distance between the two cities to calculate the curvature of the Earth, which he did fairly accurately, and it's round.
The 90-degree 10,000 K height test. You won't be able to say by trying this that the Earth is flat or domed.
If you want proof, walk 10,000 kilometers, turn 90 degrees, walk another 10,000 kilometers, turn another 90 degrees, and walk another 10,000 kilometers, you will end up nearly in the exact same spot that you started. But that's a triangle, right?
So if the Earth was flat, you would have made up 3 parts of a perfect square.
And if it was domed, the exact proportion of that dome would be, wait for it, proof that it's a perfect sphere, because there's no way a dome would be able to amount to that exact proportion without restructuring the entire Earth's measurements.
Finally, the sun sets. If the Earth was slightly domed or flat, the sun would not set. Some flat earthers claim the sun just gets smaller, or that because it's domed, the sun sets. But the sun being that high on a flat Earth would definitely result in the sun never setting anywhere. We would see both the sun and the moon.
On April 12, 1633, Galileo was ordered to turn himself into the church for spreading and holding the belief that the Earth was round. He was condemned to prison until he agreed to never spread that the Earth was round again. Then, after being forced to agree to that, he was forced to spend the rest of his life under house arrest. Sounds fun.
Let's ask an important question. Why would Galileo, a genius astronomer and mathematician, even mention the Earth was round unless he had some evidence to support this theory, especially since he knew how the church would react? Okay, so one of the biggest arguments I'm seeing is that if the world was round, wouldn't a plane constantly have to readjust its nose so it doesn't fly into space? And if the world was round, why isn't it upside down when it's near the bottom of the world?
Okay, so gravity is a funny thing. I mean, there are monks in history who could levitate. Check out our video on people.
No, they were not. And again, this is what makes me mad. They're like, let's explain to these flat earth idiots why they are wrong. And in the same sentence, they're like, by the way, there are monks who can literally do magic. No!
People with supernormal abilities to hear more about that. But for everyday people, gravity is real. So why doesn't a plane need to readjust its nose or isn't upside down?
It's the constant pull of this gravitational force. Otherwise, if a pilot lets go of his controls, the plane would just crash right into the ground. That's why if an object wants to go into space, it needs to break through the atmosphere and the gravitational force of the Earth, which is called escape velocity.
This is why rockets have to use so much fuel to do it. Otherwise, it would burn up in the atmosphere or fall back down to the Earth, which is what has happened in the past. So this is all very elementary physics. Otherwise, if you throw a ball into the air, it would go straight into space.
So the goal of all this was to help people break free of the mis- and disinformation that is out there. The thing that bothers both of us more than anything is when innocent people are being taken advantage of.
Which is why we spread QAnon BS. No flat earther believes in flat earth society. They are controlled opposition. I don't believe the earth is flat, but I do believe they are hiding something about its structure or properties. Gross. Anything else? Sorry, but the flat earth concept began long before NASA came along. The earth being flat doesn't mean exactly flat. It's slightly domed. Oh, guys. Oh, no.
When they are, we both feel
Dr. Gamble with 100 bits, thank you.
We need to stand up to it.
I mean, and like, look at Mad Mike Hughes, the 61-year-old amateur rocket scientist who blasted himself off in a rocket to prove that the Earth was flat, and he ended up in the hospital. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he's being deceived and could have killed himself, but at the same time, couldn't y'all have just gone up in a hot air balloon?
Well, no way, because it's so much cooler
Well,
to
no,
say.
dude.
He's an amateur rocketist that I think was using flat earthers in order to fund his hobby. I think that's what I heard about that. Could be wrong, though.
Went up in a rocket, man.
Okay, I'm not going to argue you there. He's got some points for that, but ended up in the hospital is not fun.
Funny about the tools
Okay, so to
of
conclude.
capitalism.
He's dead now. He died last year in a rocket thing, I assume. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Do you think there's any evidence these people could see that would prove it to them that the Earth is round? No. No. Of course not. Why would they? They didn't They didn't get into this position because of a rational argument. It's emotional. It's culty. It makes them feel special. Like, you could literally take someone like this up in a rocket, who is someone who believes in flat Earth. Someone as much as, let's say you took Nathan Thompson and put him in a rocket and flew him into space and showed him planet Earth. He would not believe what you are showing him. He'd think the whole thing's a simulation. Like, we didn't really go into space. This just has TV screens for windows, whatever. Like, people like that, it's not about rationality. It just isn't.
We think this whole flat Earth idea is one out of 3 possibilities. The first being a few guys started this as a joke, the trolls of the trolls, and it snowballed out of control into what it is today.
Right. And the second one being an elaborate scheme by NASA to throw more disinformation out there to confuse and get people to laugh at all the conspiracies and unexplained phenomena that science just can't explain.
It's
Okay,
the
and
first
third
one.
being a scheme from a few people who are trying to profit and become famous for this idea.
Right, so dare I ask, what do you guys think of all of this?
Yeah, don't agree with us? Well, comment below.
Honestly, do you know this is my conspiracy theory. This probably isn't true, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was true. So we know that places like Russia use disinformation campaigns pretty effectively to try and push people towards certain extreme positions and stuff like that. It would not shock me, and again, this is a tinfoil hat theory. I don't think this is necessarily really true. It just wouldn't surprise me if it was. Like a pilot program to prove that you could influence certain numbers of people into very extreme positions online. It would be interesting if Flat Earth was like a pilot program to see if they could convince people into believing something really ridiculous using like Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of stupid stuff like that. Antipodian Squid with 50 bits, they basically personify the concept. If you don't get a premise rationally, you can't use rational thinking to get away from it. Yeah. A conspiracy, basically. Again, I don't think that's necessarily true. It just wouldn't surprise me if It was.
I'm just gonna...
Nope, that's not the Hans one. Someone else has been putting videos out on Hans's channel. It's very annoying. So Hans Wormhat. This video is entitled NPC for God.
Hans Wormhat. In this video, I want to talk about a certain feeling that I get sometimes when I'm thinking back on a few different video games I played growing up. And since it's a feeling, I can just do my best to try to explain it.
Oops.
The God to these video games I played growing up. And since it's a feeling, I can just do my best to try to explain it. And so here we go. This game, Populous. In this game, you're playing this invisible hand, and you're kind of the god to these people. And you build a society, and you have your group of followers, and yeah, they worship you. And there's a few different games like this that I played. Black and White. Black and White is still the only game that's made me feel like a god. And so, of course, I feel some embarrassment, and my memories are tainted a little bit, but I guess sometimes there's some good in the bad, and one of the things is that thinking back on these video games, I just have a new perspective now about it. And so when you're playing these games, yeah, you are like the god character, but that's not exactly what this video is about. I'm more thinking about the NPCs in this game, these types of games, especially games like this where you got to build a city. These were my favorite growing up. I loved these. And in a lot of these games, you have these little NPC characters that are running around, and the thing that gives me the feeling, it's just the suspension of
Hans is an NPC, confirmed.
Disbelief. I was always able in these games to just totally suspend my disbelief and immerse myself in these societies where people follow God, or often, of course, in these tainted examples, in these tainted games, it's usually pagan, multiple gods, lowercase g stuff. But that's not the point. The point is, I look back on these games and I look at the NPCs and just how they're fully committed into their religion. Their whole lives revolve around the religion.
Right, because that's the gameplay of the game. Because that's the game, is you being God. I haven't actually played these games, but it seems like it's like a sim where you're like controlling different aspects of their society or the world around them. And so, of course, the gameplay that they program into the NPCs is going to be centered around that conceit.
You hear them running around the streets talking about Apollo, and you know that they believe. You know how NPCs...
Okay, but they don't really believe. You get that, Hans, right? You know NPCs, like, don't actually have thoughts and feelings, right? They're programmed to behave certain ways.
They're not acting. NPCs are perfect in what they're doing. They're just fully committed to the role. An NPC doesn't doubt themselves.
The NPC doesn't think. Of course they don't doubt themselves. They don't have thoughts. It's literally just a computer program, Hans. NPCs do not have real thoughts.
They're playing their role, and they're fully committed to it, and they go through all the motions without questioning it. There's no ego there.
There's no anything there, Hans! How do you think video games work? Do you think that, like, when you play a video game and there's NPCs, they're like having thoughts and feelings, but they're like, no, I'm an NPC in a video game, I have to fulfill my role or whatever. No, there's no internal thought. There's no thought. They don't think. They're not alive. They're facsimiles of beings. They are not real. Reboot is canon confirmed.
And especially Black and White, this game, you have all the people praying to you, and you're this invisible hand god, and you can like grab rocks and chuck it at the people. So you grab rocks and chuck it at the people, and everybody's screaming and praying that God spares them their life, and just that total immersion that the NPC characters had into worshiping God.
Because they're programmed to say those lines, to act out those things. Because the creator of the game said, well, we're having a game where the player is God, so of course we're going to have this be religious-centric. at least in some way. So when you do bad things to the NPCs, they're going to act as though they are praying and begging and stuff like that. They're not actually doing that, though, Hans, because they're not real. Schlock with 10 bits. People like Hans are going to have a real bad time when someone invents a holodeck.
It gives me a feeling of I want to be that. And I know it seems strange. I want to be that NPC worshiping God, who's worshiping them perfectly, and there's no phoniness there. That's what I'm trying to get at, is in these games, you're able to submerge yourself, you can suspend your disbelief and go back to a time where people did have...
How many subs does he have? 3.65. And I am up to 2.2. So we're getting there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to get more subs than Hans Wormhat. That's my next goal.
Have such strong faith that you just don't see today. I always talk about plastic Christians because it feels like Christianity today is so plastic. And I think that's what the root of this feeling that I get is about the NPCs in these types of games that I love to play, is that they had such strong faith. And that...
No, they don't. They're just programmed that... How depressing is it to believe that, like, your ideal state would be being a robot for some religious figure? That's so sad.
Their lives revolved around their faith. What's the deal with neckbeards and Vikings? Just neckbeards.
What?
Weird things. And you see that people need this in their life, and it gets misplaced. People put their faith in the strangest things these days, and instead of putting their perfect faith in God, you get neckbeards that they want to suspend their disbelief and pretend to be an Odinist. And they just do it. They just go through the motions. I don't know how related this is, but it makes me think of it, how everybody agrees to just play along with this whole Santa thing for children. It makes me sick that people are willing to play along.
Why? It's like a fun thing for kids. It's like, ooh, there's like a magic guy who comes and he brings presents to you. Like, it's just a thing, Hans.
Play along to pretend to be an Odinist. People are willing to play along to pretend to do these weird Santa things that I don't even want to get into. But people aren't willing to just play along and put in the part to worship God.
Okay, first of all, most people in the United States are Christian. So yes, a lot of people do believe in God and worship God, as far as they understand it to be so. But yeah, there are also people who don't believe that, like myself, people who are non-believers, and that's also fine. What?
I think God needs to be worshipped. Just the humility, and going back to why these video games trigger that emotion in me, I think, is that the way that the NPCs in these video games worship God. Like, going back to, I talked about throwing a rock. Just when you read in the Bible of people shouting up to the sky, I just know in these games, people are just shouting up into the sky, praying for mercy and things like that. You just don't see people acting like that these days.
Right, because people, even though people are religious, in other ways people are also rational beings. So they understand if a tornado hits their house or a wildfire destroys their house, it's because of natural law, not because some deity got mad at them, at least most of the time. There are always going to be those, like, fire and brimstone people who are like, oh, this natural disaster happened because gay people exist or something. But, like, most people recognize that, like, something bad happened to you because of a natural thing that happened. It's not the anger of some deity.
And so hopefully I'm describing this feeling in a way that you can understand. It's just now we got plastic Christianity, we got coffee shop Christianity, where these beautiful cathedrals are not places where people are shouting out to God and laying down on the ground and crying, and just, it's not really a place of worship anymore. It's totally plastic. What is this? This isn't how people are supposed to worship God.
There's nothing
just to try to bring it back to the feeling that I get when I think of those video games and the way that the NPCs act is just how strong in their faith they were and how committed. And
okay, but they're not, Hans. They don't exist. Ugh, Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Taking on his argument, those NPCs are perfect worshippers because they had actual proof supernatural things are happening to them, and an invisible force is literally throwing rocks at you. I would bow and worship too if rocks were flying in the air on their own. Oh, God.
How their whole society...
I wouldn't. That'd be annoying. Like, why would you try and, like... I don't know. The entire concept of God in the way that it's depicted both in the Bible and in popular Christianity, even if I believed that God existed, I wouldn't worship God. Because the characterization of God in the Bible is profoundly evil, egocentric, and ridiculous. So I don't get that. Like, the entire idea that even if a God existed, that they would be worthy of worship is bizarre.
Society revolved around the religion, and it wasn't plastic or phony. So, Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. I think fear of the Lord comes into this. In the video games, the NPCs are afraid because you can use...
No, they're programmed to move and emote in such a way that makes them look afraid. They're not real, Hans.
Your magic hand to strike a lightning bolt right next to them and chuck a rock at them or things like that. Nowadays, people are so... I guess it's just life is so easy for people. People have no fear of God. They're afraid of fake stuff that they see on the TV. There's barely any fear of God. And again, tied in with this is just doing it. Displays of your religion. Thinking back to the old video games, they live in society where doing grand gestures for God is just an everyday part of life. Always talking about God.
Right, because that's what the game's about.
I know it's silly, but something I think about from Seinfeld all the time is George Costanza says once that nobody talks about God anymore. And it's true. People just don't talk about God anymore.
Right, because religion isn't a part of most people's everyday lives at this point. Which I think is for the better.
People don't live their lives for God like it's the most important thing. And
it's not.
Yeah, there is this just do it. People take this just do it and they turn it into being completely about vanity, but there is a just do it part to faith. And people always love to talk about fake it till you make it, but they mean that's another vanity thing. People don't apply that to faith, even though I think it can be helpful in faith. Sometimes you just got to do it, even though you don't feel like it. And I can just say for me personally that I think that this applies to faith too. Sometimes, even though if you don't feel like you have it, you can just fake it for a little bit and then you won't be faking it anymore. You know those people that they live such fake lives that it becomes real at a certain point. I believe that you can do that with a certain extent when it comes to faith. Just make sure that you're not just copying, don't just parrot what you see phony pastors at church do or what people do on the TV. If you're going to do this just do it thing, keep it strictly between you and God and try to get anything that you're going to do out of the Bible. Try to do things that are biblical. Just to give an example, you might try doing some oil anointing on yourself. I don't know exactly the details of how it works, but I just want to give one example of how we can try to live more religious-based lives. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to go anoint themselves with oil, and that's a really important part of being saved or anything like that. It's just living lives that are more mindful and going back to the type of living that people did when religion was the most important thing in people's lives. Hopefully I described that well. John chapter 14, verse 11. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. I think that this statement right here is getting at this just do it mentality when it comes to your faith. Sometimes you just got to go for it. And yeah, that's it. God bless everyone.
Yikes. Hans. Oh boy. Hans has deep, deep issues. But I guess we'll have to explore them further another day. I'm gonna raid Jake, I think. He's doing a... So thanks everyone. It was a good stream. I'll be back tomorrow to do a wheel stream before D&D. So I'm sure that'll be a good time. Come and hang out for that. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. This guy has a fundamental misunderstanding of how ancient people spent their lives. They didn't have God as the most important thing in their lives. They had to work to survive. I agree. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. It was a good time. Enjoy the debate for those of you who are going to watch it. I'm not going to. Too stressful. I'll catch maybe some clips after the fact, but I hope you guys have a good time. Tell Jake I said hi. I'm sure I'll be in the chat at least for a second before I go and cut stuff up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's just YouTube. Search Hannah Reloaded on YouTube. The link's probably in chat somewhere. So yeah, have a good night, everyone. Chat is valid.